Urban Cultivation, starting my immortal path from key refining level 1. Hello again, dear adventurers of the multiverse. Thanks for joining us once more on this epic journey. Remember, this story is pure science fiction from our wild imagination, so don't go trying to summon dragons in your backyard. The rights of this amazing novel belong entirely to its original author, we are only the narrators. Do you want more adventures? Show some love to our YouTube channel with a subscription and a like, and if you want exclusive content, our Patreon is waiting for you with open arms. Chapter 301 Suzing and Li Kiki. In a luxuriously decorated room, Hu Qingde held up her phone, her delicate face frozen in bewilderment. Should I speed up? After passing this opening, it's wide inside? Will my body fall apart the next day? Hurt? Bleeding? Are you sure this is running? You're kidding a 3-year-old. What running? Fixuan. I didn't expect you and Su Yang to develop so quickly, to even do that kind of thing. Hu Qingde's face flushed, and she suddenly remembered what Su Yang had said on the phone. What's there to be afraid of? There's no one on the road. Could this mean that Su Yang and Feizhuan had been doing it right in the street? How audacious, how daring, Hu Qingde exclaimed in disbelief. Feizhuan, such a pure and innocent girl, has fallen to this point? It's all Su Yang's fault. The super dandy young Master Su lives up to his reputation. He's got a wild streak in his bones. Feizhuan is walking into Tiger's mouth with him. Hu Qingde gritted her teeth, suddenly feeling sorry for Li Fixuan. But thinking of her grandfather Hu Ishimiao's attitude towards Su Yang, Hu Qingde became particularly curious. What's so good about young Master Su? Why does my grandfather favor him so much? Now, in the villa area, on a small road, Li Fixuan had been running too fast and accidentally fell, hitting her knee. The friction between her flesh and the ground caused blood to seep out instantly. Su Yang quickly turned around, squatted down, and cleaned Li Fixuan's wound, asking, "Honey, are you okay? Does it hurt?" "Of course it hurts." Li Fixuan glanced at Su Yang angrily and complained, "It's all your fault. I was running well, why did you speed up?" "It's all your fault." Yes, Su Yang agreed, covering the wound with spiritual energy. Almost in the blink of an eye, the wound healed. Su Yang then asked with concern, "Honey, does it still hurt?" "No." "Hey, that's strange. I was bleeding just now, but where is the wound? How come it's gone all of a sudden?" Li Fixuan, full of curiosity, stood up and stretched her legs. Only to find that her leg didn't hurt at all, as if she had never been injured. "What's going on, honey? You weren't hurt in the first place. You were just in so much pain that it clouded your judgment," Su Yang said with a smile. "Oh, maybe I'm seeing things." Li Fixuan nodded in agreement, then angrily declared, "I don't care, Su Yang. You made me fall, so you're responsible. Now, I want you to carry me, haha, you little rascal." "Fine, I'll carry you, but I'll charge you interest." Su Yang chuckled and began to carry Li Fixuan, his hands holding onto his wife's, to prevent her from slipping. Initially, Li Fixuan was skeptical about the supposed interest, but now, feeling Su Yang's restless hands, she quickly realized what was happening, her face flushing red as if she could squeeze blood. "Su Yang, your hand, what's wrong with my hand? Where did you put it? Get it away." "No, honey, if I move it, you'll slip off me." "You, forget it. Just don't move." Finally, Li Fixuan relented and let Su Yang carry her. Under the moonlight, their silhouettes stretched ever longer. Now, outside the Nine Gates Black Market, in the darkness, two figures, one small and one large, stood side by side, each holding a baseball bat. "Big sis, I've been keeping my eye on this guy for quite some time today. He's got something very valuable on him that will be of great help to you." The little one on the left spoke, her voice full of childishness, only 3 or 4 years old. "If you can handle this, I promise to help you break through to the Huijin realm." "Haha, seriously, little Zing, you're not kidding me, are you?" the person next to him asked, as if seeking confirmation. It was. The small figure was Su Zing, and the person to his right was Li Kiki. Both dressed in black, with flesh-colored stockings covering their heads, each holding a heavy baseball bat, crouched cautiously in the darkness. About 7 days ago, Su Yang had sensed Chu Fuxian's presence at the Su family estate and had not returned to the riverside villa. That same night, Li Kiki, Zhou Yutuang, and Li Fixuan had taken Su Zing out for a barbecue. At a barbecue stall, They encountered a group of people looking for trouble, one of whom had reached the Huajin realm. Li Keqi's mediocre skills were adequate against ordinary people, but she was instantly defeated by them. At the crucial moment, Su Jing stepped in and quickly defeated everyone. From then on, Li Keqi and Su Jing developed a deep friendship and began to dislike him, even though he despised her youth. Furthermore, Li Keqi kept pestering Su Jing, asking him how he cultivated and why he was so powerful at such a young age. Su Jing naturally ignored Li Keqi and gave her the cold shoulder. However, Li Keqi eventually discovered Su Jing's weakness. This mysterious little creature had two passions, eating and having a concubine. Su Jing was more interested in a concubine than eating. So, Li Keqi lied, saying that besides Tong Tong, she had several other close friends, each of them many times more beautiful than Tong Tong. As long as Su Jing told her how he cultivated, she would introduce her best friends to him. Su Jing was immediately intrigued, but he didn't claim to have achieved Grandmaster status through a sudden enlightenment. Instead, he promised to guarantee Li Keqi the ability to achieve Huajin. Huajin. Upon hearing this, Li Keqi's mind shifted, and she asked Su Jing to help her. In exchange, she would introduce her best friends to him as concubines. In reality, Li Keqi didn't have any best friends who were significantly more beautiful than Tong Tong. They were all just trying to trick Su Jing. However, Su Jing, young and inexperienced, didn't realize it and happily agreed. After Zhou Yutong returned to Jiangnan, Su Jing began to think of ways to help Li Keqi improve her strength. Li Keqi was currently at the Enjin realm, and breaking through to Huajin wasn't difficult. She could simply take some ki-boosting elixirs. However, Su Jing didn't have any such elixirs with him when he ran away, and he had no money. With no other options, he set his sights on the Nine Gates black market. Before coming to Jiangbei, Su Jing had already made ample preparations for the expedition, so he knew the Nine Gates Alliance's stronghold there. But he didn't want to expose himself, lest his mother send someone to capture him, so he thought of robbing. Su Jing asked Li Keqi to take him, pretending to be a disciple of a nearby sect, and bring his brother to the Nine Gates black market to buy things and see the world without arousing suspicion. Then, Su Jing searched for targets in the Nine Gates black market, specifically targeting stall owners. If he found something he liked, he would take advantage of the moment they left the Nine Gates black market to rob them. In just a few days, Su Jing and Li Keqi had successfully committed multiple crimes. Li Keqi had also reached the peak of dark energy, only one step away from reaching the transformation energy realm. Chapter 302 Big Sister, don't forget what you promised me. Tonight, Su Jing observed for a long time before finally swooping in on a middle-aged stall owner's elixir. Though young, Su Jing possessed a wealth of knowledge in ancient martial arts. He was certain that if Li Keqi took the elixir, she would undoubtedly advance to the Huajin realm. Big sister, don't forget your promise to me. Introduce your beautiful best friend to me as my concubine, Su Jing exclaimed excitedly. Little brother Jing, Li Keqi said generously, baseball bat in hand. Don't worry, big sister pats her chest and promises you that she'll keep her word. Tisk, do you have a chest? Su Jing retorted. Huh? Li Keqi, without a trace of politeness, grabbed Su Jing's ear and demanded fiercely, what did you just say? I? Big sister, let go. I didn't say anything, Su Jing said hastily. I heard it all. I've told you so many times, don't call me little. Don't call me little, Li Keqi twisted Su Jing's ear hard. It hurts, it hurts. Wait, big sister, stop it. That guy's here. Business is important, Su Jing said sternly. HMPH, I'll let you go this time, Li Keqi finally let go, and then, along with Su Jing, they there, motionless. Just then, a middle-aged man in a gray robe emerged from the Nine Gates black market, toying with a black pill. Oh, business is so hard these days. I worked so hard again today, and didn't make a single sale, the middle-aged man sighed repeatedly, then put the black pill away and prepared to return to his residence. Bang! But then, Su Jing intervened, leaping out and smashing the middle-aged man's head with a club. You, who are you? Ugh! The middle-aged man, stunned by Su Jing's blow, fell to the ground with his eyes wide open. Got it, after dispatching the middle-aged man, Su Jing deftly fished out the black pill from his clothes. Wow, Li Keqi arrived belatedly, carrying a baseball bat. She snatched the pill from Su Jing's hand, then patted him on the shoulder, unable to resist praising him. Jing, you're getting more and more skilled. Amazing, of course I am. I'm determined to be a tough gangster. This is just the beginning, Su Jing imitated Li Kiki, shouldering the baseball bat and declaring ambitiously, one day, I'm going to knock out every old-timer in the ancient martial arts world and steal all their valuable treasures. Ha ha ha, sure. You're worthy of being my Zing, my little brother, Li Kiki said happily. Big sis, when can your bestie introduce me to someone? No one's brushing my bottle or singing me to sleep these past few days. I'm dying, Su Jing asked hurriedly. Don't worry, Li Kiki put the black pill away, her eyes curved into crescents as she smiled softly. You said this pill could allow me to reach the level of Hu Jin, but I'm not sure if it's true. Wait until I take it and see the effects. If you do advance, I'll take you to my best friend right away. I guarantee you'll all be stunning. Great, Su Jing was thrilled. The thought of someone brushing his bottle and singing him to sleep brought a smile to his face. However, the next moment, Su Jing said, Big sister, let's go. Rule number 5 of being a bandit is never to stay at a crime scene for long. Yes, let's go. Just like that, the two of them snatched the black pill and sprinted away, disappearing into the night. Unbeknownst to them, at that very moment, in the shadows, two people had witnessed the entire event. These two were the Nine Gates Black Market guards, Liu Wei and Wang Sai. The events outside the Nine Gates Black Market in recent days had caught their attention. Although, once outside the Nine Gates Black Market, whatever happened had nothing to do with them, however. The distance was too close. Su Jing and Li Kiki seemed to have caught this loophole. They always took action at the entrance of the Juman Black Market, making it difficult for Liu Wei and Wang Sai not to pay attention. That kid wasn't wearing a mask when he was in the Juman Black Market before. He looks exactly like the kid the master wants to investigate. They must be the same person, Liu Wei said in shock. He's only 3 or 4 years old. I didn't expect him to be so strong. Yeah, Wang Sai next to him couldn't help but sigh. That middle-aged stall owner was at least in the early stage of the Grandmaster, but he had no power to fight back and was knocked unconscious by that little guy. He was a Grandmaster at the age of 4 or 5. It's incredible. What is the origin of this little guy? We have been investigating for so long and haven't found any clues. A Grandmaster at the age of 3 or 4, as Liu Wei was talking, he suddenly thought of something and murmured, I remember hearing that the leader not only has a daughter, but also a son, who is a twin boy and a girl with his daughter. It seems that the leader's son almost died when he was born. He was enlightened by the ancestor and survived, so he was a Grandmaster when he was born. Su Jing, surnamed Su, Liu Wei suddenly realized something and exclaimed in surprise, Wang Sai, could this Su Jing be the Alliance leader's son? That is really possible. Wang Sai nodded, then said, the Alliance leader once had sex with a master. Miss Yao Yao's father is the master, so the master is Su Jing's father. That's pretty close. Liu Wei chuckled softly, then smiled wryly. The master's son is quite ferocious. He's a gangster at such a young age. He's been committing crimes these past few days, causing panic in the Nine Gates Black Market. It seems we should notify the master quickly and have him take good care of him to prevent him from committing more crimes. Yes, that makes sense, Wang Sai nodded. Then, Liu Wei called Su Yang's cell phone. At this moment, Su Yang had already returned to the riverside villa with Li Fixin on his back. The two were watching TV on the sofa, enjoying some quality time together. At that moment, Su Yang answered the phone and listened quietly to Liu Wei's story, his expression gradually becoming more complicated. Chapter 303 I have been law-abiding all my life, but I have such a son. Son? That little bastard Su Jing was actually his son? What the hell? Su Yang shook his head at the thought of that sleazy Su Jing. Impossible. Absolutely impossible. I'm handsome, suave, law-abiding, and upright. How could I have such a lame son? Liu Wei must have made a mistake. Yes, that's right, it was a mistake. There must be a misunderstanding. Thinking of this, Su Yang hurriedly asked, Liu Wei, what's going on? I asked you to investigate Su Jing. How did he become my son? Reporting to the master, this is the case. On the other end of the phone, Liu Wei said respectfully, since receiving your order, I have started to investigate, but I haven't found any information about Su Jing and the ancient martial arts sects in the mountains near Jiangbei, so I didn't reply to you, but today, I suddenly remembered something. Our leader Jin Shangsu has a son who is about 4 years old. He was a master at birth, which is exactly the same as Su Jing. Liu Wei continued, Master, Miss Yao Yao's surname is Su, which means that the leader's son is likely to have your surname. And Su Xing, whom you asked me to investigate, also has the surname Su. If I'm not mistaken, Su Xing is your and the leader's biological son. This is not scientific, Su Yang said with a puzzled look on his face. 5 years ago, when I parted with your leader, she was indeed pregnant, but it was Yao Yao, not Su Xing. Master, Liu Wei smiled wryly and said, haven't you heard of twins? It's said that the alliance leader had a son and a daughter, a boy and a girl, all at once. What? Upon hearing this, Su Yang began to believe Liu Wei's words. Could it be that Su Xing was really his son? Master, just then, Wang Song beside him spoke up. The alliance leader just sent a message saying that his son, Su Xing, has run away from home and is currently in Jiangbei. They asked us to take care of him in secret. Just sent a message? Let me see. Liu Wei's voice came over the phone. After a pause of a few seconds, Liu Wei smiled and said, Master, this is confirmed. Su Xing is indeed your son. Su Yang was completely dumbfounded by this news, and he felt disgusted with Su Xing. Damn it. He had wanted to be famous all his life, but in the end, he gave birth to such a thing. What a twist of fate. But then he thought, after all, he had a son, so it was a good thing. Well, I'll slowly train him later, Su Yang sighed, helpless, and forced to accept the fact. Having both a son and a daughter isn't bad. Although the son isn't very good, the daughter is still good, a warm and cozy little cotton padded jacket that keeps the air out. Thinking of Su Yao Yao, Su Yang couldn't help but smile happily. Never mind. Since they are twins, just accept it. Consider it a buy one get one free deal. Even if Su Xing's gift is a bit rubbish, it doesn't matter. Liu Wei, Yao Yao, and that little bastard Xing, how come they are so powerful at such a young age? Especially Yao Yao, who can actually burst out with the power of the Xianzong. At this time, Su Yang asked curiously. This matter has long been rumored within the Nine Gates Alliance. It's said the leader gave birth prematurely and nearly died, Liu Wei explained. Thankfully, our ancestors provided a powerful insight, saving the leader and the two children. I see, Su Yang, hearing this, said with a complicated expression, I never imagined Zuir would have such a close call for her two children. Zuir, I'll always remember your love for me. Once I've dealt with the Su family's affairs, I'll spend my life making amends, Su Yang promised, then prepared to hang up. Master, wait a moment. At that moment, Liu Wei said, I'll see you tonight. I have something else to report to you. What is it? Su Yang said calmly. This, Liu Wei paused, then said, this matter is related to young Master Xing. Hearing that Liu Wei was hesitant to speak and not anxious, Su Yang knew that his son was not in danger, but he must have done something bad, so he said, tell me, what did he do? I'm mentally prepared. Yes, Liu Wei said bluntly, young Master Xing has been hanging around the Juman black market recently, and even took advantage of the night to rob stall owners in the Juman black market. In the past few days, he has committed crimes many times and successfully robbed the items of 4 stall owners. His actions were clean and efficient, leaving no trace, causing panic among the people in the Juman black market. Liu Wei smiled bitterly. Today, he even stole the key-strengthening pill of a grandmaster, worth nearly 10 million yuan. If you take it, you have the chance to reach the level of Huijin. What? Su Yang was furious when he heard this, gritting his teeth and saying, this little bastard is so bold that he actually engaged in such sneaky activities. I'm so angry. Young Master Xing also said he wanted to be a gangster, added Wang Song, who was standing beside him. Gangster? Damn it, he's still so young and still a gangster, Su Yang cursed angrily, then remembered something and asked, by the way, he's already reached the Grandmaster realm? Why is he still snatching the key-strengthening pill? Wang Song and I were hiding in the dark and heard something. It seems young Master Xing didn't use it for himself, but for a girl named Kiki. Liu Wei continued. He called Kiki the big sister and wanted to help her advance to the Huijin realm, and in exchange, Kiki will introduce her beautiful girlfriend to young Master Xing as his concubine. Liu Wei smiled awkwardly. That's roughly it. Young Master Xing and Kiki have already gone far away. They've probably gone home. Yeah, okay, I get it. Su Yang nodded and hung up the phone, his face sullen with anger. Damn it. My reputation is ruined in an instant, you thug. Su Yang gritted his teeth, almost crushing his phone. Li Fixun was right next to him when he was talking to Liu Wei just now, and she heard the conversation clearly. Seeing Su Yang's exasperated look, Li Fixun couldn't help but laugh. Haha, Su Yang, you're the only one who wants to maintain your reputation. Come on, no wonder Su Xing is so young and has so many tricks up his sleeve. So she's your son. That makes sense now. Like father, like son, Li Fixun said with a smile. Wife, it's meaningless for you to say that. Su Yang's face darkened. He turned and sat next to Li Fixun, holding Li Fixun in his arms, and asked curiously, Wife, you know that Su Xing is my son, aren't you angry? Why should I be angry? Li Fixun gathered the hair on her forehead, smiled and said, I have accepted Zuir and Yao Yao, so naturally I can accept Xing. Xing is the child that Zuir risked her life to give birth to for you. Even if you don't want him, I will. Li Fixun continued with a smile. When I saw Xing for the first time, I thought this little guy was quite pleasing to the eye. Haha, I didn't expect that he was Yao Yao's brother. Su Yang, boys are more naughty. Xing has no father to teach him since he was a child. He has become what he is now, and you have an unshirkable responsibility. Li Fixun snuggled in Su Yang's arms, raised her head and looked at Su Yang, and earnestly warned, So, Su Yang, when he comes back later, don't hit him. Talk to him nicely and teach him patiently. He is still young and will correct himself in the future. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 304 Don't call me big brother, I don't have a little brother like you. Yet, I know. Su Yang lowered his head and kissed Li Fixun's forehead, and said with emotion, Wife, I didn't expect you to be so reasonable. Okay, don't say anything else, just be nice to me in the future. Li Fixun declared her sovereignty. Don't forget what I said, no matter how many women you have, I am the principal wife. Zuir gave birth to 2 children for you, and she is my good friend, so let her be a concubine. Li Fixun thought about it, and said playfully, as for those other messy sluts, they are all maids, responsible for serving us. Haha, okay. Su Yang knew that Li Fixun was joking, and hugged Li Fixun tightly in his arms, smelling the fragrance of his wife. By the way, Su Yang, at this moment, Li Fixun suddenly sat up and said angrily, that person on the phone just now mentioned Kiki. I didn't expect the 2 of them to be in cahoots. When they come back, I'll take Kiki away and teach her a lesson, and you teach Xing alone. Li Fixun reminded again, don't hit Xing. Boys shouldn't be hit. They're in their rebellious prime, and the more you beat them, the more disobedient they become. Okay, I understand. Su Yang nodded. The couple had agreed to teach Su Xing and Li Kiki separately. At this moment, in a corner of Jiangbei, a tall man in military uniform hung up the phone, his expression particularly solemn. This man was none other than Zhao Xiant, the god of war, who had recently arrived in Jiangbei. His main purpose in Jiangbei was to win over Su Xuantian and recruit talent for Prince Ping, Long Zuxing. However, Zhao Xiant had been staking out the 9 Gates black market for days, but had yet to see Su Xuantian. But he didn't give up, continuing to stake out his position until a phone call just now, when he abandoned the idea. Something had happened in southern Xinjiang, and Zhao Xiant had to return quickly to secure the border. Country D is growing bolder, daring to launch a massive attack on southern Xinjiang, attempting to breach the border and use it as a springboard to penetrate the heart of China. Zhao Xiant said coldly, with me, Zhao Xiant, here, I won't let them succeed. I'm heading to southern Xinjiang to stabilize the troops and stop the enemy, but, I'm leaving Jiangbei this time, and I don't know when I'll be back. Marshal Su has been so kind to me, I must go to the Su family manor to say goodbye. With that thought in mind, Zhao Xiant vanished from the spot and headed straight for the Su family manor. About half an hour later, at the riverside villa, Su Xing and Li Kiki, dressed in nightgown and wearing flesh-colored stockings, tiptoed into the living room. The living room light isn't on. My sister definitely isn't back. Brother Xing, why are you being so cautious? Li Kiki complained. Besides, wearing those stockings on your head is so uncomfortable. We've already pulled the burglary off, so why not just take them off? SHH, Su Xing whispered. Big sis, you don't understand. Rule 3 of the gangster code is to never let your guard down. Let's go back to the room, take off the stockings, and change into our own clothes. Then we can talk openly. We have to be careful now, that makes sense. Okay, I'll listen. Li Kiki nodded and followed Su Xing, hunched over and cautiously moving forward. Snap. Just then, the living room light flickered on. Big sis, why did you turn on the light? Su Xing complained. Didn't we say we had to change clothes first? I didn't turn it on. Didn't you turn it on? Li Kiki asked, puzzled. What? I didn't turn it on either. Is there something unclean here? Su Xing's expression changed instantly, as if he were frightened. At the same moment, a hand silently rested on his shoulder. Ah, ghost! Su Xing's defenses were instantly broken. Like a cat whose tail had been stepped on, he leaped 3 feet high, his face filled with panic. The owner of this hand was none other than Su Yang. Earlier, Su Yang had sensed the presence of Su Xing and Li Kiki and had turned off the lights in the living room. Now, Su Yang's gaze fell on Su Xing, and he said with a sullen face, "What have you been doing, you bastard?" Big brother, I haven't been anywhere," Su Xing said hurriedly. Big brother? Su Yang's expression was complicated, and the corners of his mouth twitched. Before, he hadn't known Su Xing was his son, so he'd thought it was okay for him to call him Big Brother. But now, Su Yang felt uncomfortable. Damn it, his son calling him Big Brother? Is there any law, any justice, this little piece of shit? However, on second thought, he seemed to have gone even further. His son called him Big Brother, at least they were equals, but his father called him Uncle Xuantian. Never mind. Never mind that. At this moment, Su Yang stared at Su Xing and ripped the flesh-colored stockings off his head. Ouch, that hurts, Big Brother, be gentle, you're hurting me, Su Xing said, covering his ears. Shut up, don't call me Big Brother, I don't have a little brother like you. Su Yang's face darkened, and he sternly questioned, you're dressed like this, and you still say you didn't do anything? HMPH, little bastard, I know everything you and Kiki did. If you don't admit it, don't blame me for being rude. Su Xing had already endured Su Yang's beatings, and he still knew that Su Yang was his father. At this moment, Su Xing felt a little scared and quickly looked to Li Kiki for help, begging, Big sister, help me, brother-in-law. Li Kiki took off her flesh-colored stockings and walked over, saying, what are you doing? Xing and I are playing games, so we're dressed like this. Yes, we're playing games, not robbing, Su Xing added. You little fool, shut up. Isn't that just making things worse? Li Kiki muttered with a sullen face. At this moment, Li Fixun came out of the bathroom and smiled. Haha, Kiki, you can use idioms now, sister. Li Kiki's expression became a little unnatural, and she lowered her head and whispered hello. Kiki, you are so brave. You actually took Xing to rob and introduced your best friend to him as a concubine. You are really something, Li Fixun said with a stern face. Come on, go home with me, I will deal with you when we get home. Su Yang, I'll take Kiki away first. Remember, don't hit Xing. Let's talk it out, wife. Su Yang smiled and tried to persuade her, it's so late. You can't drive. How are you going to go back? You should stay. No, I'm afraid you can't help looking for me at night. Li Fixun's face suddenly turned red as she spoke, and then she changed the subject. Besides, who said I can drive? I learned it 2 years ago, Su Yang asked in confusion. Then why did you say you can't drive and asked me to take you to the internet celebrity bridge to shoot a video? Chapter 305, A Filial Son is Born Under the Stick. PFFT, I was just kidding. My car's parked right outside. Li Fixun flashed a playful smile and said, come on, Kiki, come home with me. Su Yang, see you tomorrow. I won't bother you teaching your son anymore. With that, Li Fixun took Li Kiki's hand and headed out the door. Fuck you, big sis, don't go. Save me. Su Xing cast a pleading look at Li Kiki. Xing, little brother, I can't do anything. But wait. Once I reach the Huajin level, I'll definitely help you get revenge. With that, Li Kiki and her sister left the riverside villa. Now, Su Yang and Su Xing were the only ones left in the living room. Su Yang said nothing, staring at Su Xing with a serious expression. The atmosphere was heavy, a clear prelude to domestic violence. Big brother, Su Xing panicked and said quickly, I was wrong. I admit that I went to the Juman black market to rob with Big Sister tonight, but I was forced to do it. It's all Big Sister's fault. She said she had several girlfriends who were several times prettier than Tuang Tuang. I couldn't help it and made a big mistake, Su Xing said remorsefully. I shouldn't have done that. I feel very regretful now. I'm sorry to the people and the country. Shut up, Su Yang had had enough and interrupted. Let's talk about the robbery later. Now I ask you a question and you must answer truthfully. Tell me, what is your mother's name? Huh? Su Xing paused, a little surprised. Why did he ask this suddenly? Did he guess my identity? After a pause of several seconds, Su Xing chuckled. My mom's just an ordinary person. Big brother, you definitely wouldn't have heard my name even if I told you. Who are you calling Big Brother? Su Yang raised his hand and flicked Su Xing's head, then said sternly, You bastard, I've had someone investigate your identity. Your mother is Jin Shangsu, the leader of the 9 sects. You have a sister named Su Yaoyao, right? Su Xing was stunned and surprised. You know everything? Yes, Su Yang nodded, his gaze fixed on Su Xing, his eyes complex, and he said, Su Yaoyao is my daughter. You and he are twins, boy and girl. Su Xing, do you know what you should call me? Su Xing fell silent upon hearing this, his young face revealing an expression even more complex than Su Yang's. He had always considered his father a loser, uneducated, and unworthy of being his father. Therefore, Su Xing never considered Su Yang a father, viewing the man he had never met as dispensable. Whenever Su Yaoyao missed her father, he would mock her. But when he saw the other children in Jilfang Mountain, all protected by powerful fathers, Su Xing would be filled with envy. He, too, longed for a powerful father, one who would stand up for him, defend him when he got into a fight. But Alice, he didn't have one. No, he did, but he knew his father was just a worthless, ordinary person in Jiangbei. This intensified Su Xing's hatred for his father, whom he had never met. Why were other people's fathers ancient warriors, so powerful, while his own was just a worthless person? Why? He hated it, hated his father for being useless, and hated the injustice of heaven. Some time ago, Su Xing unexpectedly learned of his father's death. He pretended to be unconcerned, but deep down, he was still heartbroken. After all, if Su Yang hadn't died, even if he had been useless, Su Xing would still have had a father. But with Su Yang dead, Su Xing would truly be a fatherless bastard. The main reason for his departure this time was actually a desire to see the city where his father had lived. However, upon arriving in Jiangbei, Su Xing unexpectedly discovered that his father was not dead, but was extremely powerful. He could defeat a peak grandmaster, yet his father easily defeated him. This proved that his father was no loser, at least he was a groundmaster, a master among his peers. Therefore, Su Xing gradually accepted Su Yang as his father, even looking forward to seeing him again. But Su Yang hadn't returned to the riverside villa for a week, and Su Xing had been pining for him. Su Xing, what should you call me? Su Yang asked again. Su Xing slowly regained consciousness and raised his head to meet Su Yang's gaze. His eyes were slightly red, tears glistening in them, and he choked out, Dad, Dad. Hearing these 2 words, Su Yang smiled with satisfaction, his heart filled with excitement. But on the surface, he pretended not to care. He raised his hand and slapped Su Xing on the head, and said coldly, What did you say? Speak louder, I didn't hear it. Damn it, Dad, are you deaf? You can't even hear this, and there's more. Su Xing covered his head and said angrily, The recognition between father and son is such a touching scene. Didn't you see that I was crying? But you slapped me on the head. Is this appropriate? What's inappropriate? Su Yang glanced at Su Xing, and then said, It's natural for a father to beat his son. Besides, beating is love and scolding is love. I love you, eh? Su Xing almost spit out foul language, but thinking that the other party was his father, he held back, gritted his teeth and said, Dad, do you beat Yaoyao like this too? Of course not. Su Yang shook his head and said, Daughters are meant to be loved, how could I bear to beat her? Then why did you bear to beat me? Su Xing asked a question from the soul. A son won't become a useful person if he's not beaten. You must have heard that a good son is made under the stick, but have you heard that a good daughter is made under the stick? Su Yang asked back. Su Xing's face darkened. What? Su Yang looked at Su Xing, raised his right hand, bent his index finger, raised his eyebrows and said, Little bastard, you don't accept it, I accept it. Su Xing immediately became intimidated and hurriedly smiled apologetically. Dad, stop beating me, isn't it enough that I accept it? That's more like it. Su Yang nodded in satisfaction, then asked, Son, you were doing well in the 9 Gates Alliance, why did you suddenly run away from home and come to Jiangbei? Do you miss Dad too much? Yaoyao said I was tall and handsome, so you want to come and live with me for a while? Su Yang asked with a smile. No. Su Jing shook his head, met Su Yang's gaze, and then said the most filial words in the world in a serious tone. Dad, actually, I came to Jiangbei mainly to collect your body. Collect a body? The smile on Su Yang's face froze instantly. Peas, the reward is pitiful. The cold is almost recovered. 20 reminders will add one more chapter, and there are also free small gifts. Everyone give some, please everyone. I am a full-time worker, and the expenses of my family will depend on this book. Chapter 306. Dad, are you Dad? Dad, I mainly wanted to collect your body? Su Yang was stunned, and the corners of his mouth couldn't help but twitch. Damn it. You really are a filial son in China. Dad, Su Jing exaggerated and said, a few days ago, Mom and my younger sister returned to Jilfang Mountain in southern Anhui and brought back the news that you were dead. You don't know, I was so happy, huh? Su Yang frowned. Oh, no, it was a slip of the tongue? A slip of the tongue? Su Jing quickly corrected himself, his face filled with grief. I was heartbroken. I couldn't eat or drink. I missed you so much that my kidneys ached. Every day I dreamed of you, as your son. Dad, it was my duty to collect your body. China's 5,000 years of virtue must not be lost. So I snuck out of Jilfang Mountain and came to Jiangbei. Su Jing continued, I thought if you hadn't been cremated yet, I'd bury you. It would be my filial duty, but who knew you weren't dead? Dad, what's going on? Su Jing asked in confusion. Why did Mom and Yao Yao both think you were dead? Su Yang paused for a moment before realizing what was happening. That night, he was so badly injured that there was almost no chance of treatment. I guess Jin Shangsu, upon arriving, saw him near death and concluded he was incurable, so she left Jiangbei with Yao Yao, heartbroken. Damn it. How could I have overlooked that? Su Yang gave a wry smile, his expression full of self-blame. Hey, Dad, you said that now that things have gone wrong, I can't even collect your body. At this moment, Su Jing said with regret, I was ready to cry at your grave. What a pity, what a pity, what a pity for your uncle. Su Yang's face darkened, and he flicked Su Jing's head. Then he said, shut up, I need to call your mom. Hiss, Dad, even a tiger won't eat its own cubs. You hit me too hard, you want to kill me. Su Jing grimaced in pain, ready to complain more, but a look from Su Yang calmed him down. Then, Su Yang took out his phone and dialed Jin Shangsu's number. A few seconds later, the call went through. Jin Shangsu, also known as Jiang Zuier. Su Yang didn't know how to face Jiang Zuier. After thinking for a while, he slowly said, Zuier, Dad. Unexpectedly, Su Yao Yao's surprised voice came from the other end of the phone. Are you Daddy? Yao Yao. Su Yang reacted and smiled gently. My dear daughter, it's me. Can't you even recognize Daddy's voice? Dad? Su Yao Yao cried with joy. Woo woo woo, it's really you. Mom said you were dead. Yao Yao is so sad. Dad is not dead. Your mom made a mistake that day, Su Yang explained with a smile. Now Daddy's injury is completely healed. That's great. Su Yao Yao was ecstatic and said excitedly, Dad, Yao Yao thought you were dead. It's great that you are okay. Yao Yao's dad is still alive. La la la. Okay, Yao Yao, where is your mom? Let her answer the phone. Daddy has something to say to her, Su Yang said softly. Mom's gone to the Jilfang Hall. She's so busy every day and usually doesn't come back until the evening, Su Yao Yao replied, and Mom doesn't like to carry her phone. I was just watching Peppa Pig on her phone. Okay then, Su Yang smiled. When your mom comes back, tell her that Dad's still alive. It'd be best if she calls me back. Yeah, Su Yao Yao nodded frantically, then suddenly remembered something and asked, by the way, Dad, my younger brother sent me a photo a few days ago. It looks like it was taken in the room I used to stay in. Did he go to the Riverside Villa? Did you see him, the younger brother you're talking about, Su Jing? Su Yang asked. Yeah, it was him. Yes, he was. He's right next to me, Su Yang said with a smile. Dad, that guy Su Jing, you must teach him a lesson. He doesn't care about you at all. After he found out you were dead, he said it was just as well you were dead, and that you weren't worthy of being his father. On the phone, Su Yao Yao was telling tales, accusing him of all his evil deeds. Sister, Su Jing, standing nearby, was terrified. His face paled. He quickly jumped up and snatched Su Yang's phone. He gritted his teeth and said, what nonsense are you talking about? In my mind, Dad is a towering, majestic deity whose majesty cannot be violated. Tisk, Su Jing, stop pretending. Dad won't believe you, Su Yaoyao pouted and said fiercely. Besides, I'm your older sister. You're my younger sister, and I'm my older brother, Su Yaoyao. Don't try to overpower me in front of Dad. Su Xing gritted his teeth. You want a beating again, don't you? Do you believe I'll deal with you? Su Yaoyao threatened. Su Xing, looking into the phone, grinned profusely. Yeah, I really want a beating. I'm itchy all over right now, and I feel uncomfortable all over. It's a pity you can't hit me. Lelilo, you can't hit me. As he spoke, Su Xing grimaced and stuck out his tongue. He really deserved a beating. Bang! Su Yang couldn't help himself and flicked Su Xing's head. It hurts, Dad. Su Xing froze, clutching his head and demanding, why did you hit me? You're feeling uncomfortable and want a beating, aren't you? Su Yang smiled and said, as a father, I feel obligated to grant your wish. Su Xing, tearful, said, brother, you don't understand what I'm saying, do you? Do you really want a beating? Who are you calling brother? Su Yang raised his hand, curled his index finger, and threatened with a stern expression. Ahem, I didn't say anything. Su Xing quickly returned the phone to Su Yang and stood aside in silence. Su Yang took the phone and chatted softly with Su Yaoyao, a gentle smile plastered on his face. They chatted for over 10 minutes, the atmosphere so harmonious that Su Yang's face was practically wrinkled with laughter. Yaoyao, wait in southern Anhui. Once Dad finishes things here, I'll pick you and Mom up and bring you to Jiangbei. Then our family will never be separated, Su Yang made a promise. Yeah, Dad, Yaoyao and Mom are waiting for you, Su Yaoyao nodded happily. Then, Su Yang hung up the phone and his eyes fell on Su Xing. The smile on his face disappeared instantly, replaced by a serious look. Fuck, Su Xing's face darkened and he muttered, Dad, your expression changes so quickly. When you called Su Yaoyao, your face was full of doting, but when you faced me, it was stern. What's the matter? Do I owe you money? Chapter 307, Su Qianqin's blurred eyes. Shut up, Su Yang looked at Su Xing and said sternly, Yaoyao is like the warm sun on a winter's day, warming my heart. You're like a cold knife, the sight of you pierces my heart, Su Yang said sternly. How did I pierce your heart? Humph, Yaoyao just told me I was dead, and you were happy. And I'm not worthy of you being your father, Su Yang asked sternly. It's a rumor, Su Xing said seriously, it's absolutely a rumor, Dad. She's trying to destroy the relationship between us. Her heart is damned, her crime is heinous, and unforgivable. Enough of your chatter, little brat. It's useless, Su Yang's face darkened. Let me ask you, whose idea was it to rob people at the entrance of the Juman black market? Hearing this, Su Xing was about to make a point, but seeing Su Yang's stern expression, he fell silent. I know this even without you telling me, Su Xing. You're so young, yet you're determined to become a gangster. You're quite the character, Su Yang said in a teaching tone. I wasn't by your side before, and I didn't give you the right guidance. It's my fault, but from now on, I'll lead by example and instill in you the right values, Su Yang said sternly. Thinking of becoming a gangster or taking a concubine, those thoughts are forbidden. Do you hear me? Yes, Dad. Su Xing instantly stood at attention and whispered, but, Dad, you have a concubine yourself. My mom and Aunt Fixun, there's always one, older and one younger, right? You can't just let the officials set fires while the people can't light lamps. I don't accept that, Su Xing said seriously. Su Yang felt a little embarrassed, unsure how to respond. In a moment of uncertainty, if that's the case, then, let's just give Su Xing a brains blow. Bang! Su Yang raised his hand and flicked it on the head. Ouch, Dad, you're being unreasonable, Su Xing grimaced in pain. Su Yang said, somewhat embarrassed, shut up. I'm reasonable, so angry, Su Xing said wistfully. When I'm talking to you about force, you're talking to me about reason. I'm talking to you about reason, and you're talking to me about force again. It's a headache. Why do I have a dad like that? I'm so angry. This little guy really can talk a lot. Su Yang glanced at his son and was about to say something when he suddenly received a call from his father. Su Yang, return to the Su family manor immediately. I have something to discuss with you, Su Shenping said anxiously, then hung up. Su Yang frowned slightly, then without hesitation, looked at Su Xing and said, son, come with me. Dad, where to? Su Xing asked, puzzled. To see your grandfather and great-grandfather. Then, Su Yang dragged Su Xing away from the riverside villa with him, like a chicken. Half an hour later. In the underground secret room of the Su family manor. After watching the bikini fashion show, Li Chunfeng hurriedly left, still grumbling about installing an LCD TV in his own training area to hone his character. At that moment, Su Shenbing and Su Qianqin were still lying in their beds as usual. Standing nearby was a man in military uniform, towering about 2 meters, like a small mountain. It was Zhao Xiance. Commander Su, Zhao Xiance smiled wryly. Southern Xinjiang is fraught with danger. Young Master Su is delicate and frail, unseasoned. I'm afraid once we get there, no problem, Su Shenbing laughed heartily. It seems Su Yang has reached the peak of Huijin. It's time he saw blood. A flower in a greenhouse will never become a great warrior, but, Xiance, thank you for your hard work. Keep an eye on Su Yang on the battlefield, Commander Su. You're welcome. Zhao Xiance waved his hand and said, all right, since Commander Su has made up his mind, I'll take him with me on this trip back to southern Xinjiang. At the peak of Huijin, he's not weak at all. He's qualified to be my aide-de-camp. There won't be any complaints from the army, given young Master Su's level, Zhao Xiance smiled. Just then, Su Yang walked in with Su Xing. Dad, what are you talking about? Su Yang smiled, then looked at Zhao Xiance next to him and greeted him. Isn't this the god of war Xiance? You haven't left Jiangbei yet, haha, I'm getting ready to leave tonight. Zhao Xiance smiled lightly, then turned his gaze to Su Shenbing, and said politely, Commander Su, you should communicate with young Master Su about this matter. I'll wait for him outside the manor. After saying that, Zhao Xiance looked at Su Qianqin next to him and said goodbye. Goodbye, old man. After saying goodbye, Zhao Xiance turned and left the underground secret room. Dad, Grandpa. After watching Zhao Xiance walk away, Su Yang looked at Su Shenbing and Su Qianqin, wondering, what is the god of war Xiance talking about? Your grandpa and I are going to let you. Su Shenbing was talking when he suddenly saw Su Xing next to him, and immediately asked curiously, Su Yang, who is this kid? Haha, Dad, Grandpa, I have something too, I was just about to tell you. Su Yang smiled, then pushed Su Xing and said, Su Xing, call someone. Grandpa, great-grandfather. Su Xing greeted them carelessly, not afraid of strangers at all. Su Yang. Su Shenbing was stunned, almost sitting up in bed in anxiety. He excitedly said, what did he call me? He called you Grandpa. Su Yang smiled and introduced, his name is Su Xing. He's my son, my biological son. Holy crap, your son, that makes him my grandson. Su Shenbing was overjoyed and hurriedly said, dear grandson, come on, come here quickly, let Grandpa take a good look. Yeah, Su Xing walked over obediently, disguising himself very well, like a good baby. Ha ha ha, Su Shenbing looked him over carefully and laughed heartily. Su Yang, you know what, this kid looks exactly like you when you were a child. So much like you, haha, the Su family has a successor. Ha ha ha, I have a grandson. Su Shenbing was grinning from ear to ear. Su Qianqin, who was in the next bed, was equally excited and muttered, you little bastard, have you seen enough? If you have, let me, your great-grandson, come over to me. My eyes are blurry and I can't see clearly from too far away. Su Shenbing heard this and grumbled softly, Father, you can even see the mole on the left leg of the beautiful woman in the bikini on the TV screen, so why are you blurry now, huh? Su Qianqin glared at Su Shenbing coldly, and the latter immediately stopped and shut up. Then, Su Qianqin smiled and said, great-grandson, come here quickly and show your great-grandfather. Chapter 308 Going to Southern Xinjiang. Okay, great-grandfather. Su Xing, feeling the warmth of the Su family, was overjoyed and approached Su Qianqin. Okay. Su Qianqin looked at him kindly, excitedly saying, you look quite capable, worthy of being a descendant of our Su family, huh? Suddenly, Su Qianqin froze, his expression filled with surprise. He muttered, Child, have you reached the Grandmaster level? Yes, Su Xing said, nodding truthfully. How is that possible? You're just a child of a few years old. How could that be? Su Qianqin said in disbelief. Grandmaster, Su Shenbing was also shocked and couldn't help asking, Su Yang, what's going on? Before Su Yang could speak, Su Xing said, hey, isn't it just the Grandmaster realm? It's nothing. It's still my dad, Su Xing. Su Yang interrupted hurriedly and said lightly, go wait outside for a while. I have something to say to your grandfather and great-grandfather alone, Dad. Su Xing was a little reluctant, but under Su Yang's gaze, he still went out obediently. Afterwards, Su Yang looked at his grandfather and father and explained, "This matter is rather complicated. It's like this. Xing and Yao Yao were born one after the other. Zhang Zuier was pregnant with twins and gave birth prematurely, which put both the adults and the children in danger." Su Yang continued, "In order to save his life, Zhang Zuiyer's ancestor had an epiphany and transferred his true energy to Yao Yao and Xing. So Xing was a martial arts master when he was born." "I see," Su Qianqin nodded. Obviously, he knew something about epiphany. He turned and asked in confusion, "Isn't Zhang Zuier a young lady from a small family? How could she have such a powerful ancestor behind her?" This, Su Yang smiled bitterly, and then said truthfully, "Grandpa, do you know the Nine Gates Alliance?" "Yes, it's a behemoth, even more powerful than the Medicine King Palace." Su Qianqin frowned and said, "Why, is Zhang Zuier related to the Nine Gates Alliance?" "Yes," Su Yang responded, "I didn't tell you last time that Zhang Zuiyer's original name was Jin Shangsu. She is the daughter of the Nine Gates Alliance and now serves as the leader of the Nine Gates Alliance." Leader, Su Qianqin and Su Shenping looked at each other. They never expected that Zhang Zuier had such a deep background. After a pause of several seconds, Su Shenping said puzzledly, "Su Yang, are you kidding? If Zhang Zuier really has a strong background as you said, why would she come to Zhengbei? Why would she have a relationship with you and give birth to twins for you?" "I'm telling the truth." Su Yang shook his head and said, "As for the reason, I don't know either." "Okay." Su Qianqin seemed to be thinking about it, and after a moment he said, "Su Yang, don't think too much. Yao Yao and Xing are your children, there is absolutely no mistake about that." Su Qianqin smiled carefreely. "As for the reason, haha, why bother about it, anyway? It's our Su family that is benefiting." "Father is right." Su Shenping smiled, then asked, "Su Yang, Zhang Zuier?" "No, it should be Qian Shangsu. Why did she send Xing to you?" Su Yang smiled lightly. "That little bastard was not sent by Zuier. He ran away from home and came to Zhangbei by himself." "Ha ha ha, a 4-year-old kid ran away from home. He is worthy of being my grandson. He has personality." Su Shenping paused, then laughed heartily. "Okay, Dad." Su Yang looked at Su Shenping and asked doubtfully, "What were you about to say?" Su Shenping immediately put away his smile and said seriously, "Su Yang, your grandfather and I have discussed it. We plan to have you follow Zhao Xiance to southern Xinjiang. We will leave tonight, going to southern Xinjiang." "Yes," Su Shenping continued, "Zhao Xiance told me earlier that southern Xinjiang is in trouble now. The army of Country D is at the gates, and he needs to go to defend southern Xinjiang. I think this is a good training opportunity. You should go and hone your skills." Su Shenping said seriously, "Only by experiencing the baptism of blood on the battlefield can you become a true hero." "Su Yang, this time Dad is not asking you to shine in southern Xinjiang. You just need to follow Zhao Xiance and kill a few Country D soldiers." Su Shenping encouraged him, "This is your first time killing someone. You may not be used to it, and you may even feel disgusted, but it is something you must experience. Su Yang, you can overcome it. Dad believes in you." "Baptism of blood? First time killing someone?" When Su Yang heard this, he couldn't help laughing in his heart. "Are you kidding me? Dad, I have killed more people than you have ever seen, okay?" Su Yang was about to refuse, but suddenly thought of the 49 members of the blood slaughter, and immediately changed his mind. The 49 blood slaughterers practiced a Qingming body training technique and the Fulan combined attack technique. The practice process of the Qingming body training technique is to strengthen the body bit by bit. Being invulnerable to swords and guns, and immune to water and fire is just the beginning. For the real masters, the body is immortal and indestructible. There are 2 main ways to strengthen the body. One is to collect various medicinal herbs and strengthen the body. As for the second method, it is to bathe in blood. The Qingming body training technique is both good and evil, like a demon but not a demon. When it is running, the body's surface can continuously absorb blood. If there is enough blood, it is equivalent to a mobile phone. You can play while charging, and there will always be endless power. In other words, a member of the blood slaughter who has mastered the Qingming physical training technique, facing ordinary Country D soldiers on the battlefield, will transform into a killing machine, consuming their strength while replenishing it with the blood of their enemies, never exhausted, able to fight endlessly until the last enemy is slain. Furthermore, by the end, this blood slaughter member's body will be tempered. Furthermore, Although the 49 Blood Slaughter members have mastered the fuel and combined attack technique, they have never seen actual combat. The opponents on the battlefield are weak and have a high tolerance for error, allowing them to slowly hone their skills through actual combat. Su Yang was just wondering how to improve the Blood Slaughter's strength, and this was indeed a good opportunity. Su Yang, what do you think? Are you going or not? At this moment, Su Qianqin looked at Su Yang and said, if you don't want to go, we won't force you. Yes, Su Yang chuckled softly. Grandpa, I think this is a great opportunity. I definitely won't miss it, but I want to bring our secret guards with me so they can look after me. You're still afraid of death, kid? You want them to protect you, right? Su Qianqin nodded and said, okay. Since most of the secret guards are veterans anyway, let Xiao Ting lead the team. You all can go together, okay? Thank you, Grandpa, Su Yang chuckled softly. Don't worry about the Su family manor. Divine Dr. Zhang Zhongaiyu from the Medicine King Hall will be here. Well, then go ahead. The war is urgent. Don't keep the heavenly strategy god of war waiting too long, Su Qianqin said. Okay, Su Yang nodded and turned to leave the underground chamber. Wait a minute, Su Shenping asked hurriedly, what will happen to my eldest grandson if you leave? Who will take care of him? Su Xing, Dad, don't worry, I will let Fei Xuan take good care of him and take him around Jiangbei to have some fun, Su Yang responded with a smile, but he didn't think so in his heart. He had already decided to take his son with him to southern Xinjiang this time to prevent this kid from doing anything wrong in Jiangbei. Peas, thanks to Xin Huayu of Charon Building for the character summon reward. Chapter 309 Su Qianqin's thoughts. Su Xing, this brat, is truly a restless fellow. If he is left in Jiangbei, who knows how much trouble he will cause. He is determined to be a ruthless bandit. If he is not strictly supervised and allowed to rob and commit crimes in Jiangbei, what will happen? However, the fact that he is taking his son to southern Xinjiang must not be told to his father and grandfather. In the minds of these two, Su Xing is just a well-behaved and honest 4-year-old child. Going to a battlefield with swords and blood? What a joke. After making up his mind, Su Yang said goodbye to his father and grandfather, and then strode out of the underground secret room. Father, after Su Yang left, Su Shenping's eyes were full of worry. Do you think Su Yang will be in danger on this trip? Probably not. Don't worry about him, Su Qianqin said confidently. Why are you so sure? Su Shenping asked doubtfully. The situation on the battlefield is changing rapidly. Although Tianzi is the leader of the 10 great war gods of China, he has to take care of everyone after all. It is impossible for him to only take care of Su Yang himself. Also, Tianzi has already set foot in the Earth sect according to international agreements. The Earth sect realm cannot directly participate in the war. He can only sit in command, Su Shenping said worriedly. If Su Yang goes into battle to kill the enemy, he will not be able to protect Su Yang. Country D has been planning this for a long time, and they must have sent many masters. What if Su Yang, Su Qianqin smiled lightly and said, you forgot that my brother is now the master of the Medicine King Hall. I've thought about it. When I meet the genius Dr. Zhang Zhonggai later, I will ask him to notify my brother and ask my brother to send someone to protect Su Yang. Su Qianqin continued, do you think I just want to train Su Yang up? Su Shenping paused, then seemed to think of something, then suddenly realized, Father, are you trying to use Su Yang as an excuse to call in the Medicine King Palace? Indeed, Su Qianqin said sternly, since ancient times, the ancient martial arts forces of China have never participated in national wars. No matter how far China has fallen, no matter how miserable the people's lives, as long as the country is not destroyed, the ancient martial arts forces will not intervene in national wars. This situation has lasted for hundreds of years. About 100 years ago, Duan Muliu, the most powerful master of Country D, took the lead in calling on the surrounding countries to jointly agree that masters of the Earth sect will be banned from participating in national wars. All countries passed the agreement unanimously. Since then, the ancient martial arts forces have become even more indifferent to national wars. In the past, ancient martial arts sects would regularly send disciples to serve as officials in the court. After the Earth sect's ban was issued, the major ancient martial arts sects simply stopped sending disciples. Su Qianqin said with a grim expression, originally, our country of China was strong and had laid the foundation for a great power. No country dared to provoke it, but gradually, the surrounding countries began to provoke China. After discovering that China did not have powerful generals, they became even more unscrupulous. Su Qianqan gritted his teeth and said, although I retired from the army and lived in seclusion in Jiangbei, I was once a Chinese soldier after all. I have Chinese blood in my veins. I cannot stand by and watch China being bullied and do nothing. That's why, more than 20 years ago, I proposed that you join the army. On the one hand, you should find an opportunity to restore your strength, and on the other hand, you should defend your country. At this point, Su Qianqan revealed a satisfied smile. In the end, you did not disappoint me. Although your strength has declined, you have also made General Su's reputation and intimidated the 5 counties in 19 countries. Yes, in recent years, I have paid attention to the situation on the border and found that the enemy countries have become more rampant. This is because our country has few generals and few masters in the army. Su Qianqan continued, since country D dared to start a war with the changes in southern Xinjiang this time, they must have made sufficient preparations and must have mobilized all the masters in the country. There are many strong people in our country of China, but they are all concentrated in the ancient martial arts sects. If the masters of the sects do not come out, it may be difficult to withstand the attack of country D relying solely on the independent cultivators in the city and the masters of the royal family. So, when I heard about the battle situation in southern Xinjiang today, I thought of asking Su Yang to go there. Su Qianqan raised the corner of his mouth and said, the influence of the Medicine King Palace is terrifying, and the number of masters who can be mobilized is countless, and the master of the Medicine King Palace is my younger brother Su Xuantian. We use Su Yang as an excuse to ask him to send masters to southern Xinjiang. My younger brother will certainly not refuse. In this way, our country of China's chances of winning in southern Xinjiang will be greatly improved, Su Qianqan said with a smile. Father, I understand what you mean, Su Shenbing asked worriedly, but wouldn't this be a good idea? What if Uncle Xuantian thinks we're using him? Well, as long as it protects southern Xinjiang, let the misunderstanding be a misunderstanding. Su Qianqan sighed again, and then said, but I don't think you'll get too angry over such a small matter. As for Su Yang, this trip to southern Xinjiang, after experiencing the baptism of blood, will also be rewarding. Yes, that's what you said, Father. Su Shenbing nodded, then thought of something and asked curiously, Father, that Zhang Zuir actually has such a great background. It's really unexpected. I'm still very confused. Why did she hide her identity and come to Jiangbei, and why did she lose her virginity to Su Yang? Su Qianqan smiled meaningfully, nothing in the world happens without a reason. The old leader of the Nine Gates Alliance is the same age as me. When I was a teenager, your grandfather Su Wuji was at the peak of his power. I met him a few times. We are just acquaintances and I know him a little bit. Su Qianqan chuckled softly and said, that old guy is definitely a shrewd person and has always been good at calculating. He sent his descendants to approach Su Yang on his own initiative. He must have known that the Jiangbei Su family is the Kunlun Su family. Su Shenbing was even more confused. Our Su family has fallen to this point now. All the major sects in the ancient martial arts world want to fight us. The old leader of the Nine Gates Alliance knows our background, so why didn't he come to cause trouble? Why did he go to such a big expense to let his descendants combine with Su Yang? That old guy was once extremely talented and was the leader of the younger generation of that era. He once crushed all the geniuses and won the 100 Sects martial arts competition, so he was summoned by your grandfather Su Wuji. Su Qianqan continued, no one knows what your great-grandfather said to him or what he did that night, but since that night, the old guy's strength has improved by leaps and bounds, and he will soon be comparable to the masters of the older generation. So, our Su family has done him a favor. I guess he doesn't want to be ungrateful, Su Qianqan continued, and he has a close relationship with the old leader of the Xianji sect. He must have known that our Su family would rise from ruin one day, so he had his descendants deliberately approach Su Yang and want to build a closer relationship with our Su family. Chapter 310 Dad, please taste it carefully. This, Su Shenbing smiled wryly. He's truly ambitious. Our Su family has endured so many crises, nearly perishing several times. If it weren't for our luck a few days ago, we'd have been wiped out, and he, 5 years ago, offered the innocence of his descendants as a price to forcibly bind himself to the Su family. Isn't he afraid of failure? Su Qianqan chuckled softly. Luck is a mysterious thing. Since the old leader of the Xianji sect left a prophecy, it has the potential to come true. I guess the Nine Sects Alliance is facing some trouble, and he wants to give it a try. That's none of our concern. In any case, Jin Shangsu has made great contributions to our Su family. Twins, haha, Yao Yao and Xing, are truly amazing. Su Qianqan laughed heartily. Indeed, especially Xing. He's well behaved and honest, and you can tell he's an honest child. Su Shenping also smiled happily and expressed his opinion of Su Xing. At this moment, Su Yang brought Su Xing to Xiao Ting. By this time, Xiao Ting had gone to gather the 49 members of the blood slaughter group. Su Yang and his son waited in the courtyard. Dad, what's going on? Where are we going? Su Xing asked curiously, eyes wide open. Su Yang looked at Su Xing and smiled softly. Let's go to southern Xinjiang. I'll take you to the battlefield. Fuck. Upon hearing this, Su Xing didn't hesitate and started to run. Su Yang was quick-witted and grabbed Su Xing's clothes, lifted him up, and said with a playful smile, "Where are you going, Dad? You are so interesting. I'm still a child, cute and tender. Why are you taking me to the battlefield?" Su Xing kept kicking his legs, but he could only kick the air. He gritted his teeth and said, "Put me down quickly, Dad. That kind of fighting and killing is not suitable for me. I'm so tiny, not even as big as an ant. I will be scared when I see them fighting." "Shut up," Su Yang interrupted. "Why are you pretending? Is there anything in this world that you are afraid of? When you were abandoned robbing the stall owners of the Juman black market, I didn't see you afraid. I heard from the guards of the Juman black market that you were very ruthless. With one blow of your stick, even the masters were stunned." "Well, Su Xing smiled bitterly, and then changed his words. "Okay, I'm not afraid, but Dad, I don't want to go to the battlefield. It's so boring. Why don't you go by yourself and I'll stay in Jiangbei just in case," Su Xing suggested. Su Yang smiled and said, "Just in case of what? Think about it, the battlefield is so dangerous. It is said that a general dies in 100 battles, and a general's success is the result of the sacrifice of thousands of soldiers." Su Xing said seriously, "Dad, I am the only boy in our Su family in my generation. If we all go to the battlefield and something happens, who will continue the Su family's lineage?" Su Xing said seriously, "If you go alone, if you die, I can collect your body for you, Dad. Think about it carefully. Isn't that the case? Think about it." Su Yang held Su Xing with one hand, raised the other hand, and gave him a decisive slap on the head, and said with a dark face, "So, you are thinking about collecting my body for me?" "Ouch!" Su Xing covered his head, grimacing in pain, but still gritted his teeth and said, "What else? I am your son. If I don't collect your body, do you still count on Zhang Sen, Li Si, and Wang Ermeizi?" "Stop talking nonsense," Su Yang glared at Su Xing, then said, "I promised Dad and Grandpa that I'll leave for southern Xinjiang tonight, and I'm worried about you staying alone in Jiangbei, so you have to come with me, Dad. I understand you care about me. I'm so touched. I didn't expect you'd be thinking of me even when you were about to die. Pa, I didn't expect you'd still be thinking of me when you were about to go to war." Su Xing's eyes welled with emotion. He continued, "But don't worry, I'll take care of myself and won't let anyone hurt me." Su Yang heard this and said seriously, "I'm just worried you might hurt others." "Me?" Su Xing was stunned, his small eyes filled with confusion. Then, a deep question came from the bottom of his heart. "Dad, am I your biological child? Stop talking nonsense. Don't struggle. I'll take you away. Don't be surprised by what you see next," Su Yang warned Su Xing, then threw him into the air. Then, with a thought, Su Xing, who had been falling in midair, suddenly vanished. It vanished without a trace, as if it had never appeared. Meanwhile, in Su Yang's stored ring. Damn, Su Xing stared at the space around him, completely stunned. He hurriedly asked, "Dad, what is this place?" "Don't scare me." In the courtyard of the Su family manor, Su Yang heard his son's voice and channeled his consciousness into the stored ring. "This is my stored ring. Stay here for the next few days." Su Yang didn't show up, but his voice reached Su Xing's ears. "I'll let you out when I return to Jiangbei." "Storage ring." Su Xing paused, his face filled with shock. He muttered, "Isn't this the Sumeru ring? My great-grandfather had one. I used to play with it, but a Sumeru ring with its own space, I've never seen one before. I've only read about it in ancient books." Su Xing exclaimed in disbelief, "I didn't expect you to have such a treasure, Dad." Su Yang remained standing in the courtyard, silent, communicating with his son through his soul. "Oh, I didn't expect you have heard of the Sumeru ring. Of course I am gifted. I have read a lot of books since I was 3 years old. I know everything about the 5,000 years of Chinese history. People call me the know-it-all of ancient martial arts, Su Jing said proudly. Come on, you're out of breath even after I told you you're fat? Su Yang was still somewhat satisfied. After all, his son was indeed smart, and then added, since you know about the Sumeru storage ring, don't mess around. Without my permission, you can't leave here unless your strength surpasses mine to break my storage ring, but you'd better give up on this idea, Dad. Su Jing surprisingly didn't make any jokes, but asked seriously, where did you get this storage ring with its own space? As far as I know, since the disappearance of all the ancient key refiners, only a few ordinary Sumeru storage rings have been preserved in the world. The vast majority of Sumeru storage rings have disappeared with the passage of time and turned to ashes. As for the Sumeru storage rings with their own space, they were all destroyed due to some law. For more than 2,000 years, there has been no news of such Sumeru storage rings in the ancient martial arts world. Not right, Su Jing suddenly thought of something and murmured, it appeared only more than 100 years ago. It is said that Su Wuji, the invincible strongman who once unified the ancient martial arts world, had a ring that could store living things, but this was a long time ago. Dad, are you related to Su Wuji? Su Jing asked curiously. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 311 Southern Xinjiang Battlefield, Here I Come. Son, Su Yang smiled and asked, don't you know the origins of our Su family? Yes, Mom said we're just a small family in Jiangbei, without much heritage. Only 2 generations have achieved some meritorious service. In the ancient martial arts world, we're nothing, Su Jing said truthfully. Wrong, Su Yang said sternly, the invincible Su Wuji you speak of is none other than your ancestor. Our Su family is the Su family of Kunlun, the one that once dominated the world, Kunlun Su family. Su Jing was stunned upon hearing this, his mouth wide open, silent for a long moment. But his expression revealed excitement, pride, and agitation. All right, just stay still, Su Yang smiled, then regained his composure. This storage ring was made from the bloodthirsty pearl he had snatched from Country D's military advisor when he rescued his sister. The material of the bloodthirsty pearl imbued it with the power of space. Therefore, this storage ring, just like the real world, could hold living things. At the same time, Su Yang had absolute control over the space within the storage ring. He effortlessly divided it into 2, leaving one half for Shufan and the other for Su Jing. After all, Shufan was at a critical juncture in her promotion, and Su Jing was determined to prevent her from being disturbed. Therefore, although they were both in the storage ring, Shufan was unaware of Su Jing's presence, and likewise, Su Jing was unaware of her presence. After Su Jing was settled, Xiao Ting, leading 49 members of the Blood Slaughter clan, appeared before Su Yang. Greetings, Master, Xiao Ting first knelt on one knee, clasping his hands. Immediately, the 49 Blood Slaughter clan members shouted in unison, their voices overwhelming with power. Yes, Su Yang looked around the room and said seriously, I'm sure Xiao Ting has already told you why I called you here, I won't say anything more. When you arrive in southern Xinjiang and encounter the enemy, just kill them. The more you kill, the more blood your body will absorb, and your strength will increase, Su Yang added. Although you will have endless power, you will feel pain when the enemy's swords strike you. The only thing you must overcome is to grit your teeth and endure the pain. Tenacious perseverance is the key to practicing the Qingming body training technique. Can you do it? Su Yang asked. Yes, the 49 members of the Blood Slaughter group and Xiao Ting answered in unison, their eyes determined. Okay, Su Yang said calmly, follow me, let's go. With that, Su Yang led Xiao Ting and the Blood Slaughter group out of the Su family manor to meet Zhao Xiance. Su Yang did not store the 50 people in his storage ring, because there was no need. They would have to show up on the battlefield anyway, and would have met Zhao Xiance sooner or later. At that moment, outside the Su family manor, Zhao Xiance received another call. He had set up 5 lines of defense outside Nanjiang City. The previous call was from a subordinate reporting that the first line had fallen. Zhao Xiance was extremely anxious when he saw Su Yang leading a group of men, marching out in a neat and orderly manner. Young Master Su, who are these people? Zhao Xiance frowned. They are my men. I'm taking them with me to Nanjiang this time, Su Yang smiled softly. My father and grandfather have agreed. They are here to protect me, men. Zhao Xiance heard this and immediately let out a cold sneer. He was indeed a super spoiled dandy. He brought so many bodyguards to the battlefield. How afraid of death must he be? Zhao Xiance glanced at the members of the blood slaughter group and his disdain for Su Yang deepened. These people had no trace of ki fluctuations, they were clearly ordinary people. What use would they be on the battlefield? Young Master Su, although he felt unhappy, Su Yang was, after all, Commander Su's son. He had promised Commander Su, so he had to show some respect. So he said, I'd like them to come with you to protect you, but only one new fighter jet has been dispatched this time, so I can only take you to southern Xinjiang alone. As for them, Su Yang heard this and chuckled softly. God of War Xiance, here's what I think. You should go to southern Xinjiang first. I have a way to take them with you. Do you have a plan? Zhao Xiance glanced at Su Yang, thinking he was backing out and trying to trick him into leaving first, then finding a random excuse to avoid going to the southern Xinjiang battlefield. Never mind. A tiger father produces a dog son. Young Master Su is used to being idle and pursuing pleasure, and he's truly unfit for important positions. It's a good thing he's not going to the battlefield with me. At least I don't have to worry about taking care of him. Thinking of this, Zhao Xiance said, Alright, young Master Su, I'll go first. We'll see you on the southern Xinjiang battlefield, of course. He was merely being polite, concluding that Su Yang was planning to desert and would never appear on the battlefields of southern Xinjiang. Well, war god of Xiance, farewell, Su Yang said with a soft smile. Farewell. Zhao Xiance clasped his fists in farewell, inwardly lamenting that Commander Su's son was unworthy of the title of the military descendant, and then disappeared into the night. War god of Xiance, I know what you're thinking. Haha, wait and see. Watching Zhao Xiance go, Su Yang smiled and called Liu Wei, instructing, Liu Wei, can you get us a large plane? One that can accommodate over 50 people. The Nine Gates black market had abundant resources, so a plane was certainly possible. However, with current technology, a large helicopter could only carry over 30 people. So, half an hour later, Liu Wei and Wang Sai, each piloting a helicopter, appeared over the Su family estate. Southern Xinjiang battlefield, here I come, Country D, you previously severely injured my sister and have sent assassins to kill me multiple times. This time, it's time to settle the score, Su Yang sneered, then led numerous members of the blood slaughter group on their journey to southern Xinjiang. 2 helicopters soared into the sky, piercing the clouds and traversing the night sky. Tonight was destined to be turbulent. The landscape of the southern Xinjiang battlefield would undergo a drastic shift with Su Yang's arrival. Chapter 312 Dad is still alive. As soon as Zhao Xiance left, Su Yang, leading the blood slaughter members, followed closely behind. Before leaving, Su Yang had already warned Zhang Zhongaiyu to be vigilant and to protect his father and grandfather. Shortly after Su Yang's departure, the Su family manor was at the basement. The manor now had a few ordinary servants, more than capable of taking care of Su Shenping and Su Qianqin's daily needs. With the added support of Zhang Zhongaiyu, the Medicine King Hall's background, the Su family manor was virtually infallible. At this moment, in the underground secret room, Su Qianqin and Su Shenping met Zhang Zhongaiyu, and the 3 of them were chatting. Dr. Zhang, I forgot to ask, was my dear brother Xuantian injured when he intervened to resolve the Su family's crisis and eliminated Yuan Shihei and the other 2? Su Qianqin asked with concern. Zhang Zhongaiyu stroked his beard and chuckled, it's just a minor injury. The Hall Master has recovered. Brother Su, don't worry, that's good. Su Qianqin breathed a sigh of relief, feeling a slight sense of pride at being called Brother Su. Zhang Zhongaiyu, the Kyoto sage, was renowned and held a high position in the ancient martial arts world. For such a figure to address him as a brother was a remarkable sign of his respect. However, Su Qianqin knew full well that this was entirely due to his brother's support. If it weren't for Su Xuantian, Zhang Zhongaiyu wouldn't have been so polite to him. Brother Zhang, Su Qianqin changed his address to address Zhang Zhongaiyu, smiling warmly. My dear brother Xuantian, have you been busy these days? The palace master doesn't usually interfere with the affairs of the Medicine King Palace. My junior, Zhang Ruomu, manages it, so it's not very busy, Zhang Zhongaiyu said with a smile. Haha, my dear brother is so young, but he has such profound strength. He must have spent all his time practicing and has no time to take care of the affairs of the Medicine King Palace. It's understandable. After some conversation, Su Qianqin went straight to the point. Brother Zhang, my grandson Su Yang followed a god of war science to the battlefield in southern Xinjiang tonight. Did you know about this? Zhang Zhongyu nodded and said, of course I know. I got the order from the palace master and have been guarding the manor these days. I saw young Master Su leave the Su family with my own eyes. Young Master Su is full of passion and loyalty to his country. He is truly a role model for Chinese youth. Brother Su, I am proud of you. Zhang Zhongyu flattered Su Yang by the way. No, he is an ancient martial artist at the Huijin realm. He just went there to make a cameo appearance. Su Qianqin sighed, and then said, hey, this kid, he usually hangs out in high-end clubs, living a life of luxury every night, but I didn't expect he has a patriotic heart. After learning that the situation in southern Xinjiang is critical tonight, he actually took the initiative to propose going to the battlefield, which really surprised me. Su Qianqin continued, but I know his weight and the dangers lurking on the battlefield, so I tried my best to persuade him not to go. But he said that the rise and fall of a country is the responsibility of every citizen, and he must go. Su Qianqin sighed again. There is no way. I can only agree. I don't know if he can come back alive after arriving at the border this time. As a grandfather, I am worried. It would be great if there were a few masters at the peak of the Grandmaster realm to protect him. Having said that, Su Qianqin glanced at Zhang Zhongyu inconspicuously, and continued, it's a pity that the realm of our Su family's secret guards is low and cannot be reused. Zhang Zhongyu smiled when he heard this. He had lived for so many years, how could he not know what Su Qianqin was thinking? However, this matter was of great importance, and the Medicine King Palace never participated in national wars, so he did not respond. Brother Zhang, seeing Zhang Zhongyu avoid the topic, Su Qianqin didn't give up. For the sake of the southern Xinjiang war, he shamelessly took the initiative and said, I wonder if you could ask my brother to send some masters at the peak of the Grandmaster level to protect Su Yang. Brother Su, you don't know that since ancient times, the ancient martial arts community has not participated in national wars. This is the rule, Zhang Zhongyu said embarrassment. Besides, ancient martial artists above the Grandmaster level are not allowed to take action. Just a few masters at the peak of the Grandmaster level won't make much difference against such a large number of people. I understand, Su Qianqin nodded and said, but I only have one grandson, Su Yang, and I really don't want to see anything happen to him. Brother Zhang, how about this? Send the Grandmasters to protect Su Yang, Su Qianqin suggested. If the situation changes, let those Grandmasters escort Su Yang to retreat. What do you think? This, Zhang Zhongyu could see that Su Qianqin was worried about his grandson's safety. But Su Yang was the palace master. His power was so terrifying that he could kill a late-stage Xianzhuang cultivator. Who could harm him on the battlefields of southern Xinjiang? However, Su Qianqin couldn't be told these words. To appease him, Zhang Zhongyu smiled and said, Brother Su, don't worry. I'll ask the palace master for his opinion. If he agrees, I'll have Zhang Ruomu dispatch dozens of grandmasters to southern Xinjiang immediately. Okay, Su Qianqin was overjoyed and hurriedly urged, then I'll leave it to you, Brother Zhang. Without further ado, please contact my brother. Well, the signal in the underground chamber isn't very good. I'll go out and call the palace master. Zhang Zhongyu smiled, then left the underground chamber and briefly spoke to Su Yang. Tell my grandfather that the palace master has agreed and will dispatch 50 peak grandmasters to southern Xinjiang. Don't worry, Su Yang said, and hung up. Then, Zhang Zhongyu returned to the underground chamber and relayed Su Yang's message to Su Qianqin and his son. Ha! Su Shenbing was ecstatic, exclaiming excitedly, 50 peak grandmasters. My uncle Xuantian is awesome. Brother Xuantian, you've been so kind to me. I took advantage of you this time, and I'll definitely make it up to you when I get the chance. Su Qianqin felt a tinge of guilt, yet at the same time, he wore a smile of triumph. It's secured. 50 peak grandmasters, heading for southern Xinjiang. This battle for southern Xinjiang is secured. At this moment, southern Anhui, Jiufang Mountain. Jin Shangsu had already dealt with matters with the 9 sects and returned to her residence. She knew her daughter had been feeling down lately, missing her late father, so she wanted to spend more time with her. But upon returning home, she found her daughter watching Peppa Pig. Giggling. Something's wrong. Ever since Su Yang died, Yao Yao hasn't laughed like this in a long time. She's been sullen all day. Why is she suddenly? Jin Shangsu had a bad suspicion and thought to herself, oh no. Is Yao Yao too sad and having mental problems? Thinking of this, Jin Shangsu slowly walked towards Su Yao Yao, then forced a smile and asked cautiously, Yao Yao, are you okay? Hey, Mom, you're back. Su Yao Yao smiled happily. What can happen to me? I'm fine. Abnormal. Yao Yao was so abnormal. Could it be that? Jin Shangsu was suddenly extremely nervous, her voice choking. She hurriedly comforted her, Yao Yao, I know Su Yang is dead and you're sad, but don't pretend to be strong. Cry if you want to, let your emotions out. Don't scare Mom, haha. Unexpectedly, Su Yao Yao laughed even more happily and said, Mom, you're wrong. Dad isn't dead at all. He's alive and well. I even talked to him on the phone today. Buzz. Hearing this, Jin Shangsu's expression froze, and a look of surprise gradually appeared in her eyes. Chapter 313 The second line of defense falls. Su Yang wasn't dead? He even called Yao Yao? But that was impossible. Su Yang was so badly injured, he was definitely dead. Yao Yao. Jin Shangsu realized what was happening and couldn't help but ask, really? Did you talk to Su Yang on the phone? Yeah, Su Yao Yao said with a smile. I heard it right. It was Daddy's voice. He said he'd pick us up and take us to Jiangbei when he was done with his work. Dad also said that when that time comes, our family will never be apart. Su Yao Yao continued, by the way, Mom, Su Xing is with Daddy now. And Daddy asked you to call him back. Jin Shangsu was so overwhelmed by emotion that her breathing was erratic. Yao Yao's words were so convincing, and she even asked him to call her back, showing no fear of communicating. So, Su Yang really wasn't dead. At that moment, Jin Shangsu burst into tears of joy, her eyes slightly moist. In fact, her feelings for Su Yang were very deep. Although Jin Shangsu had her own purpose when she approached Su Yang, those few years were the time when she first fell in love. After being together day and night for so long, Su Yang had long been irreplaceable in Jin Shangsu's heart. After Su Yang's death, she cried many times, but she couldn't cry in front of her daughter, lest her daughter be even more sad. Now that she knew Su Yang was still alive, Jin Shangsu was overwhelmed with emotions, and tears naturally welled up. Mom, here's your phone, called Dad quickly. At this time, Su Yao Yao smiled. I won't call. After a moment, Jin Shangsu's emotions stabilized, and then she said, if anyone wants to call, he should call me. I won't take the initiative to call. Mom, are you shy? Su Yao Yao laughed. Children, don't meddle in adult matters. Jin Shangsu glanced at Yao Yao, then took her phone. Okay, Yao Yao, relax your eyes and stop watching TV, okay? Su Yao Yao pouted, then said hopefully, Mom, Daddy's busy and can't pick us up. Can we go to Jiangbei? Su Xing's already with Daddy. He must be very happy. Daddy will spoil him, love him, and take him to the amusement park. Yao Yao also wants to live with Daddy. Su Yao Yao's eyes were filled with longing, completely unaware of Su Xing's current plight. No, Jin Shangsu refused. Jiufang Mountain is our home. You're not allowed to go anywhere. Have you forgotten what I told you? As for Xing, I'll notify your great-grandfather and ask him to bring him back, okay? Su Yao Yao, remarkably understanding, compromised with Jin Shangsu once again. She seemed to understand that she and her father were not from the same world. However, a hint of unhappiness lingered in Su Yao Yao's eyes. Sigh, Jin Shangsu sighed, then looked up into the distance, thinking, Su Yang, I know what Yao Yao is thinking. She wants a complete family, but the current situation doesn't allow it. Unless you can become the strongest in the ancient martial arts world, many people will prevent us from reuniting. Su Yang, you've made such a big splash under the name Su Xuantian. You're destined for an extraordinary life. Perhaps you can reach that level. I believe you have it. Keep going. I'll wait for you, no matter how long it takes. Time flew by, the stars shifted. Before they knew it, it was already late at night. The sky was gloomy, and darkness enveloped the earth. Around 1 in the morning, Zhao Xiant, aboard a special fighter jet with a speed far exceeding that of an ordinary helicopter, arrived first. At this moment, on the battlefield of southern Xinjiang, above the city gate. This was southern Xinjiang's last line of defense. If the city fell, southern Xinjiang would be completely conquered. Behind Nanjiang City were millions of Chinese citizens. If it fell, the consequences would be unimaginable. Now, Zhao Xian's, already clad in armor, stood tall and imposing atop the city gate, his demeanor striking. But his eyes were filled with worry, his expression grave. Just 10 minutes earlier, spies had reported that the third line of defense had fallen, and that Country D's hundreds of thousands of fierce troops were assaulting the second line. Report: at this time, a soldier in light clothes came running over, knelt on one knee, clasped his hands together and said, "God of War, the second line of defense has been lost, and we have suffered heavy casualties. The soldiers of Country D are marching here. If nothing unexpected happens, they will be at the gates of the city in half an hour at most." What? Zhao Xian was shocked. He grabbed the clothes of the spy and questioned, "The third line of defense has 60,000 of our soldiers, and there are 5 peak masters in charge. It has only been 10 minutes. How could it collapse completely? War. God of War, Country D is coming with great momentum this time. Not only has it assembled 500,000 soldiers, but it is roughly estimated that there are 500 masters at the peak level of the Grandmaster. They are unstoppable on the battlefield, and our soldiers have no power to fight back." The spy trembled. He said sadly, "The 5 Grandmasters of the third line of defense were besieged and killed as soon as they showed up. The 60,000 soldiers also suffered heavy casualties. Only a few soldiers escaped. 500 peak Grandmasters." Zhao Xian was terrified and said in disbelief, "Is Country D crazy? It is mobilizing the entire country to attack southern Xinjiang. What is its intention? No, Country D is just a small country. I have fought with them for many years. There is no way so many peak Grandmasters would suddenly appear. There must be something strange. The God of War is right. Some of those Grandmasters are not from Country D." The spy guessed, "We have received intelligence that Country D has had close contacts with the 3 northern countries recently. Will it borrow troops from the 3 northern countries?" "It's possible." Zhao Xian's face was solemn, and he said in a deep voice, "If the Masters of the Earth sect do not participate in the war, 500 peak Grandmasters will be almost invincible. It's too late to mobilize troops now. I'm afraid southern Xinjiang is in danger. Come, inform Prince Ping immediately that Country D is plotting something big. Tell him to prepare. Also, quickly evacuate the tens of millions of people in southern Xinjiang to prevent them from falling into Country D's hands." Zhao Xian's eyes flashed with ferocity as he declared coldly, "As for us, we must not retreat. We must buy them time to escape. Soldiers, we raise an army for 1,000 days, but deploy it for a single moment. Today, we swear to defend southern Xinjiang to the death." Zhao Xian shouted. "Defend southern Xinjiang to the death! Defend southern Xinjiang to the death! Defend southern Xinjiang to the death!" Countless soldiers shouted in unison, their eyes filled with determination, and not a single one flinched. Zhao Xian sighed inwardly, feeling incredibly helpless. He knew clearly that southern Xinjiang would fall today, and all the sacrifices would be in vain. But vain didn't mean meaningless. If he withdrew his troops, it would be tantamount to opening the door to China. Not only would tens of millions of civilians face a life or death crisis, but neighboring provinces would also fall. Now all he had to do was buy time, allowing Prince Ping to gather elite troops and experts to deal with the aggressive Country D. Zhao Xian raised his head, looked into the night sky, and muttered to himself, "I hope that the vast mountains and rivers of our country will be safe and sound." Chapter 314 The Secret of Eternal Life. For the next moment, Zhao Xian dispatched his men to disperse the civilian population and deploy his troops for the bloody battle to come. Meanwhile, en route to the third and second lines of defense, a vast army of 400,000 or 500,000 men advanced in an orderly and powerful manner, stirring up a cloud of dust. Within the ranks, scattered about were 500 men in black cloaks. They were all masters at the peak Grandmaster level. Furthermore, the ranks also included numerous Grandmasters at the early, middle, and late stages, numbering around 2,000 Grandmasters alone. At this moment, in the center of the advancing army sat a particularly impressive chariot, carried by a dozen soldiers. Within it, a white-haired old man sat cross-legged, his eyes slightly closed, revealing his age. Suddenly, the old man's eyes opened, a glint of light piercing through everything, a terrifying sight. He was Duanmu Liu, the most powerful warrior in Country D, a legend in the land. Roughly the same age as Zhang Zhonggao, he had dominated Country D for over 100 years. Duanmu Liu's status in Country D was similar to Su Wuji's position in the ancient martial arts world over 100 years earlier. He towered over all, his strength so immense that no one dared to defy him. As for his true realm, no one knew. For over 100 years, Duanmu Liu had never taken action, remaining in seclusion. Yet, over 100 years ago, he could suppress the peak of the Xianzong with a single blow, his combat power unmatched. Now, over 100 years later, many believe Duanmu Liu did. However, a few days ago, he suddenly reappeared, to the delight of the entire nation. Then, the aging Duanmu Liu reasserted control of Country D's military and quickly assembled 500 peak grandmasters and 2,000 ordinary grandmasters from the 3 northern kingdoms, intent on a decisive battle with the Hua kingdom. Southern Xinjiang is just a springboard. 5,000 years of Chinese civilization will eventually be trampled under my feet, Duanmu Liu muttered to himself, his voice slightly hoarse, but his tone filled with undeniable conviction. Ancestor, at this moment, a middle-aged man beside the carriage inquired, what is there in China? Why are you so obsessed with it that you want to conquer it the moment you leave the border? Haha. Duanmu Liu revealed a hint of longing and smiled gently. There, the secret of immortality lies. Immortality. The middle-aged man looked puzzled. Yet, Duanmu Liu nodded and said, it's okay to tell you. China is a mysterious country. As early as ancient times, there was a group of powerful people who mastered the means of longevity. Back then, they put forward a statement, which basically meant that the air we breathe contains an undetectable and unremovable toxin. Duanmu Liu's eyes were cloudy, and he continued, and if humans want to survive, they must breathe air, which puts them in a vicious circle. Therefore, human lifespan is limited, and normal lifespan will never exceed 130 years. Is the air poisonous? The middle-aged man became even more curious. It was the first time he heard this statement. Yet, Duanmu Liu nodded slightly and added, now that technology is advanced, I guess the chronic toxin they are talking about is oxygen. Humans cannot live without oxygen and rely on it to survive, but at the same time, the body will be oxidized. So humans will slowly age and eventually die. However, in ancient China, that group of people were called ancient Kigen practitioners. They found a way to cultivate a special energy in their bodies called spiritual energy. Duanmu Liu explained, spiritual energy can replace part of the air. Pure and vast spiritual energy can even completely replace the oxygen in the air, thus achieving immortality. However, this method is very complicated and requires talent. Many people spend their entire lives just getting started. Kigen practitioners at this level do not have the spiritual energy in their bodies that is pure and vast enough to achieve immortality. Duanmu Liu continued, although they cannot achieve immortality, because they breathe less oxygen, the rate at which their bodies are oxidized is reduced, and their lifespan is greatly increased. Living to 500 or 600 years old is easy. Kigen practitioners who have achieved some success usually have lifespans of more than 1,000 years. There are also many who achieve immortality because their bodies are completely spiritualized. At this point, Duanmu Liu's face was full of envy, and he murmured, I conquered China in order to find the secret of eternal life. The middle-aged man next to him was Duanmu Liu's descendant, Duanmu Shu, who was also the ruler of Country D and had an extraordinary status. At this time, Duanmu Shu was a little worried. Ancestor, since there are immortals in China, they must still be alive now. Will they allow us to conquer China? Duanmu Liu laughed. That group of people disappeared more than 2,000 years ago. They all disappeared mysteriously, and no one knows the reason. There are no ancient Kigen practitioners in China today. Just like our cultivation system, it is all ancient martial arts. Duanmu Liu continued, the ancient martial arts system evolved from Kigen. What we cultivate is not spiritual energy, but true ki. True ki also has an antioxidant effect, but the effect is minimal. Ancient martial artists who have reached my level have a sea of true ki in their bodies, but it cannot replace oxygen. They must breathe oxygen or they will suffocate. Duanmu Liu continued, but I can control the number of times I breathe and try to reduce the frequency of my breathing. Usually, ancient martial artists at my level can live to be 300 years old, which is not as good as ancient Kigen practitioners who have just started. I was severely injured during the last national war. I came back and secluded myself for more than 100 years. My strength has never been fully developed, and now the deadline is approaching. Duanmu Liu's eyes flashed, and he said seriously, the time left for me is running out. I must obtain the cultivation method of the ancient key refining masters. I see. Duanmu Shu nodded as if he understood. Today's conversation with the ancestor seemed to have opened the door to a new world for him. After pausing for a few seconds, Duan Mushu suddenly asked in confusion, "Ancestor, I heard from my grandfather that you were unstoppable and invincible on the battlefield back then. Who hurt you? You are already the master of a country. The Duanmu family depends on you for inheritance." "I can tell you." Duanmu Liu looked at Duan Mushu, and then fell into memories, muttering, "The person who hurt me back then was a man who looked only about 30 years old. Although it has been more than 100 years, every time I think of him and the scene at that time, I still can't sleep or eat, and my heart is full of fear. Because of him, our country D was defeated and surrendered after more than 100 years of national war. It was also because of him that I convened the 5 counties in 19 countries to implement the Earth Sect Prohibition Order, prohibiting Earth Sect and ancient warriors above Earth Sect from participating in the national war. He is too terrifying." Just by looking at me, without making a move, I knelt on the ground uncontrollably, and was seriously injured. I have not fully recovered to this day. The Earth Sect Prohibition Order is actually an excuse to prevent him from interfering in the national war, because I feel that no one in the world can be his opponent. He alone can destroy 5 counties in 19 countries. His name, Duanmu Liu's eyes were filled with fear, and he murmured, "It's called Su Wu Ji." Chapter 315 Su Wuji's Return? Su Shenbing once told Su Yang that after the Kunlun Su clan was destroyed, Su Wuji appeared once. On that occasion, Su Qianqin was severely injured on the battlefield, and the so-called foundation of the Su clan's survival was entangled by the most powerful masters of country D. It was Su Wuji who appeared and saved Su Qianqin. That most powerful master of country D was Duanmu Liu. At the time, Duanmu Liu had already intended to encroach on China, so he mobilized his troops to attack China, but encountered fierce resistance from the Chinese. Although the ancient martial arts sects of China did not interfere in international wars, country D was still a small country, so progress was slow. The battle raged for several years, leaving both countries devastated. Ultimately, Duanmu Liu took action himself, aiming to conquer the world. By then, Duanmu Liu's strength had surpassed that of the Tian clan, and he believed himself to be unrivaled. However, who knew that on the battlefield, he would encounter an old woman who could rival him? He dismissed the idea, believing his chances of victory were high. But then, something unexpected happened. A figure suddenly appeared on the battlefield, possessing an aura so powerful that a single individual could intimidate 1,000,000 soldiers. Even he, under that figure's might, prostrated himself, daring not to overstep the mark. Fortunately, the figure, seemingly disoriented and wounded, didn't engage in a bloodbath. Having arrived and departed quickly, Duanmu Liu spared his life and quickly issued orders for an emergency withdrawal. From then on, he never again dared to attack China, even initiating a ban on the Earth Sect later. After extensive investigation, Duanmu Liu finally discovered the figure's identity, Su Wuji of the Kunlun Su family. Learning more about Su Wuji, Duanmu Liu was deeply shocked. A single individual could possess such power. Naturally, he considered the possibility that Su Wuji had mastered the ancient key cultivation method. Although Duanmu Liu coveted that method, he dared not act rashly. Su Wuji was too powerful, so powerful that he dared not even breathe in his presence. Therefore, Duanmu Liu began to practice in seclusion, a retreat that lasted for over 100 years. Now, nearing the end of his lifespan, he was forced to emerge, seeking a way to prolong his lifespan. After learning that there had been no news of Su Wuji for over 100 years, Duanmu Liu once again set his sights on China. Su Wuji, Duanmu Shu, who was standing next to him, was unfamiliar with the name and asked in confusion, "Ancestor, is this person still alive? Will he make another move to stop us?" "I don't know." Duanmu Liu shook his head, and then said, "But a few days ago, when I just woke up, I found a piece of obscure information. All the ancient key refining masters disappeared mysteriously that year. Perhaps it has a lot to do with the laws between heaven and earth." Duanmu Liu continued, "During the more than 100 years that I have been in seclusion, some ancient books were unearthed in country D. They were from thousands of years ago, and there was a sentence recorded on it, which allowed me to roughly make some judgments about Su Wuji's whereabouts." "What words?" Duanmu Shu was very curious. "According to ancient records, this world does not allow Kigan practitioners to reach a certain realm. Once a Kigan practitioner sets foot in a forbidden realm, he will be rejected by the world." Duanmu Liu continued, "In other words, Kigan practitioners cannot be too strong. If they are too strong, they will be suppressed by the laws of heaven and earth. If they want to survive, there is only one way, that is to leave this world through a mysterious ancient road. If they force themselves to stay, they will be killed by heaven and earth. There is no third possibility. Duan Muliu looked at the night sky and muttered to himself, if nothing unexpected happens, that Su Wuji should have already set foot on the mysterious ancient road. This, Duan Mushu smiled bitterly. Ancestor, what you said is too unrealistic. Can anyone really leave the earth? Haha, the world is so big and full of wonders. Is leaving the earth considered an illusion? Duan Muliu laughed lightly. Have you forgotten that with the development of technology today, humans could have landed on the moon long ago and even built a space station in the boundless starry sky? Technology can be like this, let alone the Kilgan practitioners who have existed for countless years. Duan Muliu sighed. The origin of human civilization, no one can explain it clearly. I believe that the ancient books I have seen, the things recorded are true. Back then, the Kunlun Su family was destroyed by the ancient martial arts sect of China, and no one survived. With such a deep hatred, Su Wuji did not show up. He must have been dealing with the laws of heaven and earth and had no time to split himself. The time I saw him on the battlefield, he was unconscious, his body was covered with scars, and some of his flesh had been burnt. I guess he was not feeling well. In addition, there has been no news of Su Wuji in the world for more than 100 years. Either he has embarked on that ancient road, or he has been killed by heaven and earth. Then, Duan Muliu said with certainty, but no matter what, this person poses no threat to us, and the ancient martial arts sect of China, although the foundation of the three major forces can fight with me, but from ancient times to the present, they will not participate in national wars. Duan Muliu smiled confidently. Besides, with my strength, if we fight to the death, I can definitely take away the core strength of one of the three factions. None of the three major powers wants to be the first to suffer. This battle, RD country will win, Duan Muliu said solemnly. Duan Mushu, speed up the march. I want to annex southern Xinjiang within half an hour. Yes, Duan Mushu responded respectfully, then ordered his signalman to blow the horn for an urgent advance. Tram, tram, tram. In an instant, the army of 400,000 or 500,000 men was running forward, their speed more than doubled, and their uniform movement was undisciplined, evidently a force of battle-hardened soldiers. About 10 minutes later, 40 or 50 men arrived at the gates of southern Xinjiang. At a glance, the force seemed boundless and overwhelmingly powerful. What was to come has finally arrived. At this moment, Zhao Xian stood atop the city wall, gazing at the ferocious enemy from afar, his expression grave. Zhao Xian, Duan Mushu stepped forward, shouting, Southern Xinjiang is already ours. Country D, I urge you to open the gates and surrender, lest you fall prey to my sword. Duan Mushu, you're dreaming, Zhao Xian said gravely, naturally recognizing the ruler of Country D. Haha. Duan Mushu laughed wildly. You see, we're fully prepared this time. 500 peak grandmasters, 2,000 ordinary grandmasters, and 500,000 elite soldiers and generals. You, a tiny nation of southern Xinjiang, with few soldiers and few generals, how can you possibly stand against me? Surrender is your only hope. Stop this futile struggle. As ruler, Duan Mushu often led the charge, clashing with Zhao Xian on numerous occasions. However, he had never fought a battle this lucrative, and the thought of it thrilled him. With his ancestor at the helm, Duan Mushu felt incredibly confident. Chapter 316 Long Zuxing's decision. HMPH, Zhao Xian snorted coldly, then said in a deep voice, every inch of our land is shed in blood. 100,000 young men, 100,000 soldiers. We will not give up an inch of our motherland. Duan Mushu, if you lay your hand on China, even if we are defeated, we will crush you. Zhao Xian raised his arm and shouted, all soldiers, listen to my order. Defend Nanjiang City to the death. Yes, 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 all the Chinese soldiers in Nanjiang City, perhaps hundreds of thousands, shouted in unison. United as one, their faces etched with determination, ready to die. Stubborn, Duan Mushu, seeing this, waved his hand and gave the order, begin the battle. In 10 minutes, raze Nanjiang City to the ground. All defenders, annihilate them all. Leave no one alive, kill, kill, kill. The soldiers of Country D, filled with arrogance, immediately launched a fierce assault on the city. For a moment, the shouts of killing were deafening, the scene was littered with corpses, and the battle was horrific. At first, Zhao Xian sealed the city gates, Strategizing defense as offense, using the gate's strategic location to block the incoming troops from Country D. Gradually, the enemy forces intensified, threatening to breach the gates. Zhao Xiance then ordered all Chinese soldiers to march out of the city to meet the enemy. As for Zhao Xiance, being at the Earth-sect realm, he could only remain at the helm, bolstering morale and not personally engaging in combat. Fierce fighting ensued, leaving countless casualties and bodies strewn everywhere. Zhao Xiance's soldiers were battle-hardened, familiar with the terrain, and well-rested. Therefore, initially, the Chinese soldiers held the upper hand. Even facing an enemy force several times their size, they remained undaunted, displaying the true Chinese spirit. But minutes later, the 500 peak grandmasters and 2,000 ordinary grandmasters took action. The tide of battle suddenly shifted dramatically, overwhelming the Chinese soldiers with near-overwhelming superiority. The scene became a one-sided massacre, a gruesome sight. Zhao Xiance's eyes burned, but he was powerless. He could only plead with Prince Ping to prepare early. If they could send troops to support them, that would be even better. Meanwhile, at the prince's residence, Prince Ping, Long Zuxing, had received the message from Zhao Xiance and was frowning in thought. The messenger beside him knelt respectfully on one knee, awaiting Long Zuxing's decision. Pass the order down. All troops in the provinces surrounding southern Xinjiang, withdraw. Conserve your strength and await my further instructions. Finally, Long Zuxing spoke. Your Highness, the messenger was stunned for a moment, and said with red eyes, but in this way, isn't it equivalent to handing over southern Xinjiang to Country D? Country D is coming with great momentum this time. It must be well prepared and has great ambitions, Long Zuxing said in a deep voice. At this moment, it is not appropriate to confront them head-on. Preserving strength is the most important thing. Besides, southern Xinjiang is a barren land and extremely poor. Just give it to it. If we don't resist, the army of Country D will march straight in. The people in the surrounding provinces will not even have time to take refuge. They will surely suffer. The messenger gritted his teeth and said, moreover, there are more than 100,000 soldiers in southern Xinjiang. If we don't send people to support them, I'm afraid the entire army will be wiped out. Your Highness, please think twice. Shut up, Long Zuxing said in a deep voice. I have made up my mind. How can you make decisions? If you say one more word, you will be immediately sentenced to military law. Go, do as I say, order the surrounding defenders to retreat quickly, without any mistakes. Yes. Seeing his dissuasion was unsuccessful, the messenger clasped his fists in agreement and left the study. Your Highness, the war goddess Jingguo requests an audience, a guard announced as the messenger left. Jingguo is here, Long Zuxing smiled, then said, please ask her in. Yes, the guard replied respectfully. He was then heard saying from outside, war goddess Jingguo, please come in. Then, Su Jingguo, dressed in military uniform, strode into the study, knelt on one knee, clasped her fists, and said, your subordinate, Su Jingguo, greets Prince Ping. Jingguo, why are you being so polite? Get up quickly. Didn't I tell you not to perform formalities when you see me? Long Zuxing chuckled softly and moved to help Su Jingguo to her feet. However, Su Jingguo stood up first, not giving him a chance, and stepped back, keeping her distance from Prince Ping. Jingguo, Long Zuxing did not feel embarrassed. His eyes were full of admiration when he looked at Su Jingguo. He said gently, I know you like to eat vegetarian food, so I have booked a vegetarian banquet at Xian'an Tower. You must come to enjoy it tonight, Your Highness, Su Jingguo said seriously. The war in southern Xinjiang is urgent now. How can I have the mind to eat? Please allocate 100,000 elite soldiers to me. I will go to southern Xinjiang immediately to reinforce the god of war Xiance. Jingguo, the D country's visit this time is strange. You must not act impulsively, otherwise it will only increase casualties. Long Zuxing smiled and said, besides, people are made of iron and rice is steel. How can we not eat? Let's go, I will accompany you for dinner. Prince Ping, Su Jingguo's face changed, and he said coldly, there are tens of millions of people in southern Xinjiang, and hundreds of thousands of soldiers. Now it is in danger. Please forgive me for not being able to accompany you. If you don't allocate troops to me, then I will go to southern Xinjiang alone. Even if I die in southern Xinjiang, I am willing. Stupid, Long Zuxing snarled, goddess of war, you are my general. Do whatever I command you. I will not send reinforcements to southern Xinjiang, and you cannot go, Your Highness, There is no point in saying more. I bid you farewell. Su Jingguo refused to budge. After saying goodbye, she began to leave the study. HMPH, how dare you, Long Zuxing said coldly. Come in. Several guards burst through the door and knelt on one knee. Goddess of war, you disobeyed orders. Arrest her and place her in the sky prison to await your fate, Long Zuxing declared gravely. Yes, the two guards received their orders and stepped forward to restrain Su Jingguo. The guards of the prince's mansion were no ordinary people. Su Jingguo struggled a few times, but to no avail. She gritted her teeth and said, "Let me go, Prince Ping. You've abandoned millions of people. You're unfit to be the commander-in-chief of the three armies. Take her away." Long Zuxing, unwilling to listen to Su Jingguo's account of her crimes, raised his hand and urged. Two guards escorted Su Jingguo out of the study. Jingguo, don't blame me. I was protecting you. As he watched Su Jingguo being led away, Long Zuxing muttered to himself, a meaningful smile playing on his face, at this moment. On the battlefield in southern Xinjiang. Thanks to the numerous grandmasters of Country D, in just a few minutes, they had forced the Chinese soldiers to the city gates. Originally numbering over 100,000, only 70 or 80,000 remained, leaving them with nowhere to retreat. Zhao Xian stood atop the city wall, his eyes filled with helplessness. He had never imagined that Country D would deploy so many grandmasters. Haha, untouchable, Duan Mushu sneered repeatedly, then waved his hand. Pass my order, attack, kill. Hundreds of thousands of Country D soldiers, their morale surging, charged fiercely. But just then, Su Yang, leading the blood slaughter team, arrived on the battlefield. Attack. Seeing the corpses strewn across the field and the heavy casualties suffered by Country D soldiers, Su Yang commanded, show no mercy. Yes, upon receiving Su Yang's order, Xiao Ting and the 49 blood slaughter team members charged into the Country D army like tigers descending from the mountains, unstoppable. Chapter 317 Kill. The 49 members of the blood slaughter clan, thanks to their practice of the Qingming body training technique, had become several times stronger than before. Each one, bulging with muscles, looked incredibly muscular, like a moving mountain. Their punches struck flesh, and they moved unstoppably on the battlefield, like killing machines. Though they lacked Zenki, innate ki, they could crush even grandmasters through sheer physical strength. Xiao Ting, in particular, possessed immense strength and an incredibly sturdy frame, causing even a peak Earth sect cultivator to tremble with fear at the sight of his punches. While Xiao Ting's combat prowess surpassed that of a grandmaster, even one capable of crushing an Earth sect cultivator, he possessed no Zenki fluctuations or even any special energy, relying solely on physical strength, thus not violating the Earth sect's prohibitions. In a mere half a minute, these 50 individuals slaughtered hundreds of soldiers from Country D. Their deaths were gruesome, their flesh and blood a mangled mess, some were even reduced to pulp by punches. Oh no! Enemy attack, what a terrifying force! Who are they? They may not be many, but they're terrifying. Within the vast army, many Country D soldiers reacted in turn to attack the blood slaughter members. However, their attacks were like tickling the blood slaughter members, leaving barely a scratch, leaving them terrified. But the blood slaughter members didn't stop, constantly attacking. A single punch could kill a Country D soldier, and an average of 50 Country D corpses appeared on the ground every second. The blood of the Country D soldiers spurted out, landing on the blood slaughter members and transforming into blood-colored mist that quickly absorbed into their bodies, becoming a source of strength for them and tempering their bodies, making them even stronger. What the hell? I can't even cut through them. Armor. They must be wearing special, technologically advanced armor. No, that's wrong. They're all wearing uniform casual clothes. Some are even shirtless, no armor at all. With such powerful bodies, coupled with terrifying strength, retreat quickly. Send for the grandmasters to deal with them. Duan Mushu had been observing the surroundings and had already spotted the blood slaughter members. A fierce look flashed in his eyes. Training their bodies? Haha, they're just some ancient warriors who've mastered the golden bell cover. Nothing to fear. Duan Mushu examined them carefully, then smiled disdainfully. He ordered, deal with these people first, then we'll flatten Nanjiang City, as you command. Upon hearing Duan Mushu's command, the 30 or 40 peak-level grandmasters in the vicinity leaped into the air without hesitation, charging simultaneously to the rear. Whoosh! 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 These peak-level grandmasters dashed through the air like sharp arrows, and in the blink of an eye, They were engaged in a fierce collision with the Bloodslaughter members. They didn't hold back, their attacks unleashing lethal blows, their ki surging within them. Bang! 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 But they were no more vulnerable than ordinary soldiers before the Bloodslaughter members. With just 3 punches, a Bloodslaughter member could crush a peak Grandmaster. To maximize their gains, several peak Grandmasters were reduced to bloody mist, which drifted onto the Bloodslaughter members and was absorbed by them. Buzz! This scene instantly stunned everyone present, and the hundreds of thousands of troops erupted in a frenzy. A peak Grandmaster was shattered with just 3 punches. Earth Sect. These people have at least set foot in the Earth Sect. China has violated the Earth Sect's prohibitions and must be condemned by the 5 commanderies and 19 nations. No, there's no ki flowing within them, and they didn't use it when they attacked. They're not ancient martial artists. The Bloodslaughter members didn't pause for a second. Su Yang ordered them to show no mercy and kill everyone. Their only duty now was to carry out their master's orders. Kill! 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 Another round of attacks followed, and the bodies of Country D soldiers piled up on the ground, soon forming a mountain. What? Duan Mushu also noticed something and frowned, saying, "They're so strong, and they don't have any ki in their bodies. That's impossible. The golden bell cover uses ki to protect the body and resist damage. Why don't they have any ki fluctuations in their bodies?" Duan Mushu said in astonishment. It's very simple. At this time, Duan Mu Liu, who was on the carriage, slowly said, because they didn't practice the golden bell cover, ancestor. Duan Mushu couldn't help but ask, then why are their bodies so strong and invulnerable to swords and spears? I don't know the details, but they must not be ancient warriors. Duan Mu Liu shook his head. These people can easily defeat peak Grandmasters, or at least Earth Sect Masters. Duan Mushu pleaded, Grandfather, China has violated the prohibition order. Please, Grandfather, take action and kill them. Haha, they're not ancient martial artists, so how could they be Earth Sect Masters? Duan Mu Liu smiled and said, keep watching. I'd really like to know how many they can kill. This, Duan Mushu was stunned for a moment, then said nothing more. He simply ordered 2,000 ordinary Grandmasters and over 400 peak Grandmasters to attack. Now that they knew the strength of the Bloodslaughter members, they weren't complacent, and each of them brought their best skills to bear. Over 400,000 soldiers from Country D halted their advance, no longer attacking Nanjiang City, but instead stood and watched. The surviving Chinese soldiers couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief, casting curious glances at the battlefield, eager to see who had saved them. There, the Su family's secret guards, at that moment, Zhao Xiance, atop the city wall, recognized the members of the Bloodslaughter troop, as well as Su Yang in the crowd, and was instantly shocked. Aren't the Su family's secret guards all ordinary people? Without a trace of Zhangqi in their bodies, how could they? Weird. So weird. This simply exceeded Zhao Xiance's understanding of the world. However, now wasn't the time to dwell on this. Regardless, they had bought the soldiers of southern Xinjiang a respite. I had previously suspected that young Master Su was too cowardly to dare come to the battlefields of southern Xinjiang, but now, the Su family's secret guards, led by him, have averted this crisis. How ashamed! Zhao Xiance felt a slight embarrassment, then a look of curiosity filled his face, his eyes fixed on the battlefield in the distance, wanting to see just how powerful these Su family's secret guards were. P.S. I took my son out for a trip today, so the update is a little late, but thankfully, all 3 chapters are here. I did my best to keep my 800 yuan bonus. Everyone, please watch the video and you will get a free gift. If you buy more than 20 reminders, you will get one more update. I will do what I say. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 318 I want to see how many people they can kill. On the battlefield, Xiao Ting and 49 members of the Bloodslaughter clan were engaged in a bloody battle, their movements flawless, each punch packed with power. These 50 men grew braver with each battle, seemingly possessing endless strength. Furthermore, their bodies were impervious to weapons, incredibly strong. Even the might of ordinary soldiers could not harm them. On the battlefield, the Bloodslaughter clan members were like dragons, 50 killing machines, relentlessly harvesting lives. In mere minutes, countless Country D soldiers were dead, their blood staining the ground for dozens of meters. Over 2,000 grandmasters were no match for the Bloodslaughter clan. However, they were martial arts masters after all, their inner ki brimming with vitality. Even with all their might, they could still injure the Bloodslaughter clan members. Soon, the 49 Bloodslaughter clan members were covered in wounds, some even bloodied and mangled, undoubtedly excruciatingly painful. But the Bloodslaughter clan members ignored the pain, or perhaps numb it, gritting their teeth and continuing their attacks. Bang! 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 Punch after punch, the Bloodslaughter members, despite the cost of injury, relentlessly annihilated the grandmasters. Simultaneously, they practiced a kingling body training technique, drawing upon the blood of each grandmaster they slew, nourishing their bodies and strengthening themselves. Consequently, the 49 Bloodslaughter members fought with increasing courage, forcing the horrified enemies to retreat in fear. The blood and essence of a grandmaster contained true ki. While not as potent as spiritual ki, it was still a valuable energy source, nourishing the body far better than ordinary soldiers. A single grandmaster's blood and essence was estimated to be worth more than the blood and essence of hundreds, perhaps even thousands, of ordinary soldiers. The 49 Bloodslaughter members, unwilling to let go of such a valuable resource, pursued each other in pursuit. Tonight marked their first battle as the Bloodslaughter, and competition was present, albeit healthy competition. Each wanted to impress their master, so they vied to eliminate ordinary grandmasters. Before they knew it, half an hour had passed. Over 2,000 ordinary grandmasters were nearly wiped out, leaving only a few dozen, terrified, mingling with the crowd and fleeing in panic. Haha, the warriors trained by King Ming's physical training are simply the bane of this kind of battlefield, Su Yang, standing in the background, a smile playing on his face. He continued, these Bloodslaughter members are tireless, immensely powerful, and their bodies are indestructible. Given enough time, they can annihilate an army of not even a few 100,000, not even millions or tens of millions. Besides, Su Yang smiled, after this battle, the Bloodslaughter members' strength will undoubtedly be greatly enhanced, at least reaching Xiao Ting's current level, rivaling or even killing a peak Earth Sect master. 49 masters capable of killing peak Earth Sect masters were obtained effortlessly. Ultimately, I have these soldiers from Country D to thank for that. Ha ha ha. Su Yang felt a hint of pride. The Su family now faced numerous enemies. Of the three great factions in the ancient martial arts world, the old poisonous creature in the depths of the mist is a mortal enemy. A mortal enemy determined to avenge the Su family's martyrs. As for the Fengshan site, that's a more complicated issue, so let's leave that aside for now. But Su Yang will definitely go there to retrieve his mother. Furthermore, there's the Zeman family, who currently reside in Kunlun. This family has dominated Kunlun and used brutal tactics in the past. Sooner or later, Su Yang will lead his men to destroy them, repaying blood for blood, tooth for tooth. That's why Su Yang passed on the Kingling body training technique and the Fulan combined attack technique to the Su family's secret guards, intending to train them into supreme masters. Then, Su Yang will lead the Bloodslaughter members to raise the depths of the mist, penetrate the Fengshan site, and destroy the Zeman family, shaking the entire ancient martial arts world. However, the Bloodslaughter members number 49, and unleashing their collective strength is no simple task. Using medicinal herbs to refine the body, given the purity of Earth's medicinal herbs, would likely be a waste of manpower, resources, and time. But now, with just one battle, every member of the Bloodslaughter sect could rival the peak-level Earth sect masters. This was a truly auspicious event. Those 400 or so peak grandmasters are quite shrewd. No one wants to die, so they've assigned 2,000 or so ordinary grandmasters to drain the Bloodslaughter sect's energy, waiting for them to be exhausted before striking. Alice, they're miscalculated. The Bloodslaughter sect's nature is to grow stronger with each battle, never tire of it. Su Yang smiled softly, then shifted his gaze from the peak grandmaster to gaze across the air at the luxurious carriage amidst the vast army. His brows suddenly furrowed, an unprecedented sense of crisis washing over him. Inside the carriage, there's someone, so powerful. Su Yang's alertness instantly increased, his eyes filled with wariness, his gaze fixed on the carriage. He hadn't noticed before, but only now realized what was happening. After reaching the 9th level of Ki training, Su Yang's perception had increased several times. Even masters of Zhang's Hongyu's level couldn't escape his perception. But Su Yang was initially completely unaware of the person in the carriage. Even at this moment, he still couldn't judge the person's strength, only sensing a powerful gaze fixed on him. A master of ancient martial arts who could reach this level must undoubtedly be incredibly formidable, undoubtedly surpassing Zhang Zhongaiyu in strength. This is trouble. Su Yang's face was heavy, but he could do nothing but stand still and wait and see. With Su Yang's current strength, if he could use the a world away technique, he might have a chance of survival if he escaped. However, Su Yang didn't want to abandon Xiao Ting and the 49 members of the Blood Slaughter clan, so he didn't flee immediately. He wanted to see what the person was planning, why he allowed the Blood Slaughter clan to wipe out their grandmaster. Of course, if the person in the carriage attacked him, Su Yang would leave without hesitation. After all, saving his life was paramount. Let's just wait and see. Having made up his mind, Su Yang pretended not to notice Duanmu Liu and remained motionless. As for Duanmu Liu, he sat in the carriage, staring at Su Yang from a distance, a smile on his face. This young man is not simple, Duanmu Liu chuckled softly. There is clearly no fluctuation of true energy in his body, but he has an elegant demeanor, and does not look like a weak person at all. Plus those dozens of strange warriors, they were all brought by him and obey his orders, Duanmu Liu murmured. Interesting, interesting, this time in seclusion for more than 100 years, I didn't expect that such young talents would appear in China. Those invulnerable warriors are also extremely strange. It seems that they can absorb essence in blood to strengthen their physical bodies. It's unpredictable. Duanmu Liu's gaze moved away from Su Yang and looked at the members of the Blood Slaughter who were killing people everywhere. He couldn't help but laugh. I really want to see how far they can fight and how many people they can kill. Chapter 319 Fuel and Joint Attack Technique, Formation. Ancestor, Duanmu Shu next to him was anxious, and hurriedly said, those guys are too weird. Our ordinary masters are about to be killed by them. Please take action. What's the hurry? Duanmu Liu said in a calm tone, I was the one who proposed the ban on the Earth sect, although this time, we intend to destroy this place. With my strength, the 5 counties in 19 countries dare not have any complaints, but the rules are the rules. Duanmu Liu said seriously, I have always abided by the rules. I will not take action unless I have no choice. If the ordinary masters are dead, let those peak masters take action. These bastards are greedy for life and afraid of death. They are cunning. They didn't take action with the ordinary masters before. What's the point of keeping them? Duanmu Liu sneered. Besides, I didn't plan to let them go back when I summoned them from the 5 counties in 19 countries this time. Duanmu Shu, do you understand this? Duanmu Shu paused, then suddenly realized something. He exclaimed admiringly, I see. This is leveraging someone else's strength to defeat them, killing 2 birds with 1 stone. Our ancestors were wise. Currently, the vast majority of the troops led by Country D belong to the 5 counties and 19 kingdoms. In particular, the ordinary grandmasters and peak grandmasters have been recruited from nearly every nation. Duanmu Liu intends to use them to attack China, annexing it while simultaneously weakening the 5 counties and 19 kingdoms. Even without the Blood Slaughter members, let alone the obstacles they face, these grandmasters would have no hope of returning alive to their respective nations. While this would offend the 5 counties and 19 kingdoms, Duanmu Liu, with his immense power, was naturally unfazed. He was certain those nations would not dare to challenge Country D. Most importantly, this would create a gap in the ranks of masters from various nations. After all, the majority of grandmasters were in this team. This gap would result in a long period of time without the 5 counties and 19 kingdoms producing new Earth sect masters, and similarly, advancement to the Heaven sect would be extremely rare. While the Earth sect's prohibitions existed on the battlefield, they didn't apply outside of it. A nation's strength ultimately hinged on those who surpassed the grandmasters. Duanmu Liu orchestrated this act to pave the way for future generations, ensuring that Country D would remain unrivaled for decades to come. Therefore, Duanmu Liu paid no heed to the Blood Slaughter members' annihilation of the soldiers on the scene, even the slaughter of grandmasters, at this moment, atop the city walls. Over 2,000 grandmasters, all dead. Zhao Xiance, witnessing the battle below, was stunned and in disbelief. The Su family's secret guards had actually accomplished such a feat. It was simply unbelievable. I didn't expect young Master Su to have such a strong guard. It's truly astonishing. Zhao Xiance gazed at Su Yang from afar, casting a grateful glance at him. He murmured, although young Master Su is a worthless, unlearned man, he saved southern Xinjiang and the entire world this time. I'll report this and reward him accordingly. With this thought in mind, Zhao Xiance descended from the tower and, using a special communication method, bypassed Prince Ping and contacted the Emperor of Kyoto. Meanwhile, below the tower, over 400 peak-level grandmasters of ancient martial arts slowly closed in on the 49 members of the Blood Slaughter group, gradually closing the encirclement. I've observed for a long time. These monsters aren't invulnerable. They can be wounded. With our strength, we can certainly injure them. Don't be afraid, indeed, but be careful not to confront them head-on. They're incredibly powerful, everyone. Attack together and deplete their strength. We'll definitely be able to defeat them all. Over 400 peak-level grandmasters, having agreed, charged forward almost simultaneously. The 49 members of the Blood Slaughter clan, facing the onslaught of so many peak grandmasters, were somewhat overwhelmed. Puff. 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 Successive Blood Slaughter clan members were pelted with blood. Though outmatched, they had chosen to avoid vital points, so their injuries were not fatal. With simple treatment, they continued to clash with the hundreds of peak grandmasters. Thus, the 49 Blood Slaughter clan members traded their own injuries for the lives of their opponents. Each kill would nourish them with blood, healing them. This cycle continued, and soon only 300 of the 400 peak grandmasters remained. Such tenacious vitality, weird, truly weird. As long as we don't kill them outright, they'll absorb their blood, their injuries will heal, and their strength will increase a bit. How bizarre. Everyone, calm down. Concentrate your strength and kill them one by one. Don't disperse. Great. Let's split up into groups and attack each one simultaneously. Sever their necks. I don't believe they'll survive. The remaining 300 peak grandmasters, vaguely figuring out how to deal with the Blood Slaughter members, attacked without mercy. But then, Xiao Ting, who had been watching from the sidelines, took action. Xiao Ting's strength was already enough to crush the peak-level Earth Sect masters, and he could easily crush these grandmasters. However, he knew his master's intention wasn't simply to enhance his own strength, but to increase the strength of the entire Blood Slaughter. Therefore, Xiao Ting had previously avoided joining in the massacre, but instead quietly stood guard. Now, seeing the Blood Slaughter members in danger, he intervened. Then, Xiao Ting roared in a low voice, "Blood Slaughter, listen up. Form your ranks." Yes, upon hearing Xiao Ting's command, the 49 Blood Slaughter members instantly found their positions, following their memories. Instantly, the Fulan Combined Strike formation was formed. They had come to the southern border battlefield not only to strengthen their bodies, but also to master the Fulan Combined Strike. Now was the opportune moment. Fulan Combined Strike. The 49 Blood Slaughter members would become one, unleashing 100-fold the power. Kill. With Xiao Ting's resounding shout, the 49 Blood Slaughter members, in a bizarre formation, charged towards the 300 peak grandmasters. In an instant, the group was scattered. Xiao Ting didn't intervene, merely directing from the sidelines. However, the unleashed power of the Blood Slaughter members was enough to crush the 300 peak grandmasters. For a moment, screams rang out, and the peak grandmasters, like chickens, allowed themselves to be slaughtered by the Blood Slaughter members. At the same time, Kyoto, the Forbidden City, the Golden Throne Hall. Atop this majestic palace, shimmering with gold and jade, its 4 massive pillars, like towering boulders, are carved with dragons and phoenixes. At the highest point of the hall, a throne aspired to buy all those seeking fame and fortune alike. Behind it, 9 golden dragon sculptures, their fangs bared and claws snarled, seem poised to devour the world. At this moment, a solemn, middle-aged man sat upon the throne, his presence imbued with authority. This man was the pinnacle of power, the common ruler of the world, ruling over vast swathes of land and mountains, encompassing millions of people, and looking down upon all living things. He was the dragon. Walking in heaven. Dragons roam the world, supreme and unrivaled. Chapter 320, Great Victory in Southern Xinjiang. In the main hall sat the Emperor, Long Xingshan. Below, sat the entire court, nearly 100 civil and military officials, all powerful figures in the empire. Standing at the foreground on the left was the emperor's younger brother, Prince Ping, Long Zuxing. Standing at the foreground on the right was an elderly man in his 60s, the current prime minister, Liu Honglian. After the outbreak of war in southern Xinjiang today, Long Zuxing, the military chief, and Liu Honglian, the civil chief, had summoned all officials to the main hall to meet with the emperor and discuss countermeasures. For a long time, Country D has been at odds with us on the two southeastern borders, and wars have often occurred. The Emperor Xuantian frowned and said, "Why did they suddenly launch a large-scale invasion this time? Do they really have a plan, Your Majesty? The most urgent task is to send troops to reinforce southern Xinjiang." "Do you want to hand over southern Xinjiang?" Liu Honglian, the head of the civil officials, stood up and said passionately, "Every inch of the country's land was won by countless sons and daughters who sacrificed their lives and shed their blood. We must not give up an inch of land, Prime Minister. This is wrong." Long Zuxing took a step forward and directly denied it. "Country D is coming with great momentum, and it is like a broken bamboo all the way. The fall of southern Xinjiang is inevitable. Even if reinforcements are sent, it will be of no avail. Instead of this, it is better to preserve troops, accumulate strength, and then look for opportunities to fight a decisive battle with Country D." Long Zuxing suggested, "Your Majesty, I suggest that we let Country D enter the pass, divide it up, and then use the Xianlu tactics to annihilate it all, Your Majesty." Hearing this, Liu Honglian hurriedly said anxiously, "Absolutely not. This is like inviting a wolf into the house, which will definitely cause endless troubles. If Country D uses southern Xinjiang as a springboard and continuously sends troops into the country to erode our land, how can our country resist?" Liu Honglian said worriedly. "Not to mention whether the Xianlu tactics can work. Even if it really works, it is not allowed. After all, the entry of Country D has caused hundreds of millions of people to suffer. Even if Country D is destroyed, what can be done? Can the people who died in vain in the war come back to life?" Liu Honglian pleaded for the people, and said, "I hope the Emperor can consider the people's livelihood, keep the enemy out of southern Xinjiang, and fight Country D to the death." "The Prime Minister is really ignorant," Long Zuxing sneered, then said in a deep voice, "According to the information I have received, Country D has dispatched an army of 500,000, more than 2,000 ordinary masters, and 500 peak masters." Buzz! These words immediately sent shockwaves through the scene. Civil and military officials were stunned. Clearly, they understood the significance of having over 2,000 ordinary grandmasters against their own 500 peak grandmasters. "With a combined might of the entire nation, we could certainly handle a few, but holding them off outside southern Xinjiang is wishful thinking," Long Zuxing continued. "Besides, gathering the scattered grandmasters will take at least 2 days, and southern Xinjiang is destined to fall tonight. We simply don't have enough time. Besides, Prime Minister, do you know who is leading Country D's forces this time?" Long Zuxing asked coldly. Liu Honglian met Long Zuxing's gaze and replied calmly, "Whoever it is, what does it matter? Can it affect the outcome of the war?" "Of course," Long Zuxing nodded and said sternly, "because that man was once the invincible legend of Country D, Duan Mu Liu." "What? Duan Mu Liu? Isn't Duan Mu Liu dead? Over 100 years ago, he was an invincible god of war in modern times, a formidable figure on the battlefield. But after so many years, he can't still be alive." Most of the civil and military officials knew of Duan Mu Liu's name. This was understandable. As mentioned above, Duan Mu Liu was an invincible god of war in modern times, leaving a profound mark in modern history. Everyone in this era knew of Duan Mu Liu's military achievements and his glory. Therefore, the mere mention of Duan Mu Liu's name brought a wave of excitement to everyone. What Prince Ping said is true. Duan Mu Liu is indeed still alive. My spies in Country D brought news yesterday. At this time, Emperor Long Xuantian said, in the early years, Duan Mu Liu was already over 100 years old when he fought on the battlefield. Now, more than 100 years have passed. I never thought that this person is still alive. Think about it carefully. This large-scale attack by Country D must have been instigated by Duan Mu Liu, Long Xuantian continued, and the spies reported that most of the Country D soldiers in southern Xinjiang are not from Country D, but were transferred by Duan Mu Liu from the 5 counties in 19 countries. In this case, Country D's own military strength is still dormant. Prince Ping has taken it into consideration. We should not act rashly, Long Xuantian said lightly. That being said, are we really going to leave millions of civilians to their own devices, displaced and starving? Liu Zhong continued, Your Majesty, even if you want to conserve your forces, you could send troops to southern Xinjiang to escort the people back home, rather than engaging in a head-on confrontation with Country D. That's a superfluous move, and only adds to the risk, Prince Ping, Long Zuxing, said. Your Majesty's words make sense. There's no need to take such risks. Southern Xinjiang will be abandoned. At the same time, send out orders to gather all our experts to prepare for a joint response against the Country D soldiers who have entered the border." Emperor Long Xingtian looked at Prince Ping with trust and continued, "Your command for this battle is yours. I hope your Xianlu tactics will prove powerful, Your Majesty." "I obey." Long Zuxing knelt on the ground, his expression extremely respectful, a subtle smile in his eyes. Alice, Prime Minister Liu Honglian sighed, deeply disappointed, yet unable to change the emperor's decision. "So," he said, "Your Majesty, I'm ill, and will now take my leave." "Yes," Long Xingtian nodded, not trying to stop Liu Honglian. But just then, a resounding voice suddenly rang out from outside. "I am the Wartime Information Liaison Officer for the Science War God. I have urgent information, and I request an audience with Your Majesty." "Urgent information? Could southern Xinjiang have already fallen?" Long Xingtian frowned, then said, "Let him in." The chief eunuch nearby shouted, "Call." Seconds later, a liaison officer in his 30s knelt on the ground, saluting excitedly. Emperor Long Xingtian didn't let him stand, but instead demanded, "What urgent intelligence? Tell me now." "Yes, sir," the liaison officer, not daring to look up, spoke excitedly. "Your Majesty, the battle in southern Xinjiang has been a great victory. Over 2,000 grandmasters from Country D have been killed or wounded. So far, Country D has not even set foot in southern Xinjiang. An army of over 400,000 has been kept out of the city gates." As soon as these words were spoken, the civil and military officials in the hall erupted in excitement, their eyes filled with disbelief. "Impossible." Prince Ping denied it outright, stating sternly, "I know the strength of Zhao Xiance's troops perfectly well. How could he possibly wipe out over 2,000 grandmasters? Even if Zhao Xiance violated the Earth Sex prohibition and took action himself, he couldn't possibly be a match for over 2,000 grandmasters. Those are 2,000 grandmasters. Even if he exhausted all his Zenki, he couldn't do it." Chapter 321, Open the Sky Eye and Watch the Southern Xinjiang Battlefield. Emperor Long Xingtian also began to question it. His gaze fell on the liaison officer, and he said calmly, "Is the information inaccurate, Your Majesty?" "It's absolutely true," the liaison officer said respectfully. "The heavenly strategy god of war said that southern Xinjiang's information is cut off and all surveillance is damaged. However, Your Majesty can order the information department to activate the Sky Eye and use satellites to monitor the southern Xinjiang battlefield. We'll know whether it's true or not." "Okay." Long Xingtian waved his hand and ordered, "Information department, activate the Sky Eye and lock onto the southern Xinjiang battlefield. Also, build a large screen and hang it above the main hall. I want to see what's happening in southern Xinjiang with all the civil and military officials." The Sky Eye. This is a special national surveillance system that monitors all parts of the world through satellites. It can only be activated with the Emperor's order. Once activated, every corner of the country will appear on the screen, and the footage is real-time, equivalent to a live broadcast. However, the country's satellites have other uses, usually to observe the surrounding areas and defend against various enemy incursions. Therefore, under normal circumstances, the Sky Eye is never activated lightly, lest the enemy exploit an opportunity. With Country D's massive invasion now imminent, southern Xinjiang is in imminent danger. The Emperor desperately wants to know what's happening there, so he adopted Zhao Xiance's suggestion. Upon receiving the Emperor's order, officials from the information department immediately took action. Within minutes, a large screen measuring 6 by 10 meters appeared above the main hall. With a flurry of operations, the screen instantly displayed the battle situation in southern Xinjiang. On the screen, hundreds of thousands of Country D troops approached the city walls, while the southern Xinjiang defenders huddled at the edge of the city walls, unable to retreat. Originally, the Country D army would have been arrogant and aggressive, pursuing the enemy with all their might. Instead, they stood frozen in fear, frozen in place. All the enemy troops' eyes were fixed on the rear. Clearly, something major had occurred in the rear, terrified them all. Long Xingtian, intrigued, quickly ordered, "Turn the Sky Eye and see what's happening over there." Yes, the technicians activated their commands, and the screen quickly locked onto the rear. Immediately afterwards, the Emperor and all the civil and military officials saw two groups of people fighting on the battlefield. One side consisted of several hundred men, clad in black robes, each emanating a terrifying, visible aura. The other side consisted of only a few dozen men, no aura visible. Their clothes and faces were covered in blood, a sight to behold. Their figures shifted and crisscrossed, their fists swinging wildly, striking the hundreds of black-robed men with no escape. Furthermore, over 200 black-robed corpses lay on the ground, clearly a significant number dead or wounded. Furthermore, surrounding the scene were numerous bodies of men in gray battle robes, roughly estimated to be at least 2,000. The battlefield standards in Country D are: ordinary grandmasters wear gray robes, while peak grandmasters wear black, Long Xingqian muttered in shock. On the screen, the bodies of those in gray robes pile up like mountains. The peak grandmasters in black robes have also suffered heavy casualties and are being slaughtered. Who are those dozens of warriors? They're so strange. They clearly have no zenki, but relying on strength and physical strength, they can achieve such a feat. It's simply horrifying. Long Xingqian found it inconceivable. The civil and military officials present were also shocked, their faces filled with horror. As for Prince Ping, Long Zuxing, who had previously questioned the news brought by Zhao Shiance, was now speechless. Reporting to the emperor, at this moment, the liaison officer responded, "Those people are from the Jiangbei Su family, they are the Su family's secret guards." Jiangbei Su family. Long Xingqian paused, then seemed to remember something and asked, "But the Su family that produced 2 generations of Su generals, Su Qianqin and Su Shenbing, who had both earned the reputation of Su generals and later retired to Jiangbei." "That's right," the liaison officer continued. "Today, when the war in southern Xinjiang was at its most critical moment, the god of war Shiance was in Jiangbei, so he informed the Su family. 2 generations of Su marshals then decided to have their descendant, young Master Su Yang, lead the Su family's secret guards to accompany the god of war Shiance to the southern Xinjiang battlefield. Originally, the god of war Shiance thought that Marshal Su was only trying to train young Master Su, but he didn't expect that the Su family's secret guards would have such uncanny strength, turning the tide and preventing Country D from invading southern Xinjiang." The liaison officer continued, "The god of war Shiance sent this message to commend Su Yang and the Su family's secret guards." Haha. Long Xingqian laughed heartily and said, "The Su family is truly a role model for our country. They have produced 2 generations of Su marshals, and the female god of war must also be from the Su family, right? Now, the Su family has another young master Su Yang, leading the Su family's secret guards, and showing great prowess on the southern Xinjiang battlefield." Long Xingqian said with satisfaction, "Not bad, not bad. They really deserve a reward." However, the crisis in southern Xinjiang has not yet been completely resolved, so it's premature to talk about rewards. Long Xingqian smiled and said, "If Su Yang and the Su family's secret guards can thwart Country D's conspiracy and expel its entire army, I will definitely reward them accordingly. When that happens, I will appoint another General Su, making the Su family a legendary figure with 3 generals," Long Xingqian promised. Below, Prince Ping, Long Zuxing, looked grim, but didn't dare interrupt. Currently, as Prince Ping, he temporarily held military power, commanding 10 war gods. However, if the emperor appointed him a marshal, his military authority would be stripped. After all, the marshal was the highest military officer, commanding millions of troops. Ever since Su Qianqin retired many years ago, Prince Ping had been in charge of the 3 armies. Because he was a prince, the emperor was wary of him, so he had never been promoted to a full-time position. Despite his illustrious military exploits, masterful planning, and repeated attempts to keep the enemy at bay, the emperor remained silent about his promotion. And now, the Su family has reappeared on the battlefield. And young Master Su Yang, though he hasn't yet taken action, commands dozens of guards capable of crushing peak grandmasters. These guards, capable of killing peak grandmasters without even using their ki, are incredibly powerful, practically born for the battlefield. With guards like these, Su Yang, even if he's a worthless warrior, has a chance of being appointed a general by the emperor. Damn it. They've ruined my plans, and now they're trying to seize my position as the commander-in-chief of the 3 armies. Prince Ping, Long Zuxing, was seething with rage, but a sneer flashed in his eyes. He suddenly remembered a terrifying figure in the D country contingent on the southern border battlefield. That's right. Duan Muliu. If Duan Muliu were to strike, southern Xinjiang would fall, and every member of the Su family would perish. No matter how powerful those secret guards were, they were no match for Duan Muliu. The thought of this comforted Long Zuxing. Whoosh! At this moment, a white figure suddenly appeared in the Golden Throne Hall without any announcement. She was wearing a white long dress, with an elegant posture, a tall figure, and a stunning face. She looked like a 20-year-old girl. However, she had an aura beyond that of a little girl, sweeping the Golden Throne Hall. I didn't expect that the little guy from Brother Su's family would have the courage to go to the battlefield. Interesting, really interesting. Please, don't talk about modern and ancient times anymore. This is the world background of my fiction. It is a modern city, but the battlefield is in ancient times. In order to avoid some problems, everyone just understands it. There is another chapter that I am writing and will post it soon. Chapter 322, all annihilated, no one left alive. The woman in the white dress was none other than Xiao, the instructor of the Imperial Blade. Some time ago, she had traveled to Jiangbei in search of the Red Lotus Blade and had successfully brought it back. However, during her journey, Xiao discovered that the Red Lotus Blade had become ordinary, unlike what she had expected. Something must have happened. She was deeply curious about what had happened to the Red Lotus Blade and why it had lost its mysterious power. So, Xiao secretly investigated, but found nothing, but she didn't care. After all, her mission was to bring the Red Lotus Blade back to the National Treasury and seal it away. What became of the Red Lotus Blade was of little concern to her. On her last trip to Jiangbei, Xiao had met Su Shenbing, whom she hadn't seen for many years. But the person who impressed her most was not Su Shenbing, but Su Yang, the eldest son of the Su family. That little fellow looked so much like Sister Yuan that it was no wonder they were mother and son. Since her separation from Sister Yuan, Xiao's heart had grown cold, and it was Su Yang who reignited the flame within. It's just that she's been in seclusion lately, so she hasn't gone to Jiangbei to find Su Yang. Xiao's training ground is next to the Golden Palace. Just now, she overheard mentioning the two generations of General Su and then Su Yang's name, and with a flash of her own, she burst directly into the Golden Palace. Little guy, you said you'd buy me milk tea and mail me cosmetics, but you didn't do it and instead went to the battlefield in southern Xinjiang. Xiao raised her head, oblivious to the others, and gazed at the large screen above. A smile crossed her beautiful face, and she chuckled softly. Very good, you have the demeanor of Big Brother Su, haha. Silence. The scene was completely silent. The civil and military officials, clearly aware of Xiao's identity, dared not look at her, all bowing their heads in silence. Even Prince Ping, Long Zuxing, remained silent, standing obediently to the side. Liu Honglian, who had previously excused himself on sick leave, stayed after seeing the great victory on the southern Xinjiang battlefield. At this time, Liu Honglian politely asked, Instructor Xiao, do you know Su Yang? Yes. Xiao didn't even glance at the Prime Minister, her beautiful eyes fixed on Su Yang on the screen. Instructor Xiao, are you confident in him? Can he resolve this crisis in southern Xinjiang? Liu Honglian asked again, but Xiao didn't answer, not bothering to pay attention. The old Prime Minister felt a little embarrassed, but didn't dare to say anything more. Senior sister, at this moment, Emperor Longxingshan, sitting on the dragon throne, smiled and asked, when did you meet Su Yang? How strong is he? Senior sister, that's right. Xiao, the instructor of Guoren, and Longxingshan had the same master. Xiao had joined the sect earlier than Longxingshan and was even stronger than him. Even though Longxingshan was the emperor, he still addressed Xiao as senior sister and treated her with deep respect, strictly adhering to the rules of his sect, not daring to overstep the boundaries. After all, their sect was a behemoth, so vast that it transcended the 5 commanderies and 19 kingdoms. Xiao remained silent in response to Longxingshan's question, her attitude showing no change, even as he was the emperor. Senior sister, this is the Golden Throne Hall. I am the ruler of a nation. You must at least give me some respect. Longxingshan rubbed the bridge of his nose, a wry smile on his face, and was about to say something else. But then, Xiao, looking intently at Su Yang on the screen, said in a cold voice, you're disturbing me. Shut up. The officials in the hall were all stunned by these words. Someone actually dared to tell the emperor to shut up? This. As expected of the emperor's senior sister, she was so arrogant. Longxingshan paused, then smiled wryly again. Senior sister, you must give me some respect. Yes, okay, Xiao nodded, saying calmly, please shut up, please. Shut up? Just adding please? That's really quite polite. Okay, senior sister, you continue watching. Longxingshan compromised. He had no way to deal with his senior sister. Although there were rumors that Guoran's instructor Xiao had reached the Grandmaster level at the age of 40, that was just a fabrication to deceive most people. Even he, the Emperor, didn't know Senior Sister's true strength. But Senior Sister had at least reached the Xianzong realm and had been there for a long time. Even within the sect, Senior Sister was unbeatable. Aside from Master, Senior Sister Xiao was the sect's foremost, and even the elders were no match for her. Senior Sister Xiao had come to China for training over 20 years ago. Since then, Senior Sister Xiao had looked like this, and she hadn't changed at all. At first, Senior Sister Xiao concealed her strength and served under Su Shenbing, seemingly getting along well with General Su's wife. After General Su retired with his wife and returned to Jiangbei, Senior Sister Xiao's personality changed drastically. Originally, Senior Sister had a normal personality, quiet and cheerful. Later, she became cold and aloof, treating everyone with indifference. However, Long Xingshan was delighted, for since then, Senior Sister had revealed her true strength and become a national blade instructor. Over the years, there had been nothing, big or small, that Senior Sister couldn't accomplish. Of course, Long Xingshan's only regret was that he had never witnessed Senior Sister's true strength since childhood. It seemed as if she handled everyone with ease. "Little guy, you seem a little worried." "What are you worried about?" Xiao frowned slightly. Through the screen, she could vaguely see the anxiety between Su Yang's brows. Unaware of Duanmu Liu's existence, Xiao felt a little puzzled. At this moment, on the battlefield in southern Xinjiang, Su Yang was truly uneasy. The pressure Duanmu Liu was putting on him was too great. He had already decided that if Duanmu Liu attacked him, he would abandon everything and flee immediately. But now, Duanmu Liu sat calmly in his carriage, showing no sign of attacking. A few minutes later, every peak level, black-robed Grandmaster on the battlefield was annihilated by the Blood Slaughterers. Initially, they had a chance to escape, but as the Blood Slaughterers unleashed their fuel and combined attack technique, they were unable to escape. They were gradually devoured and ultimately slain. The 49 Blood Slaughterers were also wounded, but fortunately, nourished by the blood essence of the peak-level Grandmasters, their bodies were rapidly recovering. Kill. Their master's order was to annihilate all the soldiers of Country D, and the Blood Slaughterers took it to heart. After dispatching all the Grandmasters, they immediately charged towards the hundreds of thousands of troops. Bang! 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 Suddenly, a haze of blood filled the air, and the screams of agony lingered on the battlefield. Duanmu Liu sat in his carriage throughout, observing the entire scene in silence, his curiosity about the Blood Slaughterers growing ever more intense. After learning of his ancestors' intentions, Country D's ruler, Duanmu Shu, no longer cared about his troops. Thus, Xiao Ting and the 49 Blood Slaughterers slaughtered without restraint. The one-sided slaughter had already turned the battlefield into a river of blood, with corpses strewn across the ground. Unknowingly, the sky was a pale, and the darkness was about to break. Finally, at a certain moment, over 400,000 soldiers fell, leaving hundreds of thousands of bodies on the scene. Thus, the soldiers of Country D who had besieged southern Xinjiang were completely annihilated by the Blood Slaughter group, leaving not a single survivor. Chapter 323 You want Su Yang to die? Dead. The soldiers sent by Country D, 500 peak Grandmasters, over 2,000 ordinary Grandmasters, and over 400,000 soldiers, were all dead. And yet, the 50 members of the Blood Slaughter army, including Xiao Ting, though all wounded, remained unscathed. 0 casualties, and the annihilation of hundreds of thousands of enemies. This feat will go down in history. Meanwhile, in Kyoto, at the Golden Throne Hall, everyone present was stunned, their expressions filled with shock. Win, they actually won. 40 or 50 people wiped out 500 peak Grandmasters, thousands of ordinary Grandmasters, and hundreds of thousands of Country D soldiers. This is unbelievable. With so many people, even if they just stood there with their necks stretched out, it would still take time to cut them down one by one. How did they do it? Haha, look closely. Those Su family secret guards are smashing everything with one punch. Even if each of them kills one enemy soldier per second, 50 of them can kill 180,000 people in an hour. They fought from dawn to dawn, which is already slow, unbeatable. From now on, let's see who dares to set foot on our border. Civil and military officials reacted and immediately began to discuss, each face lit with excitement. They were appointed officials of the imperial court. Only when the country prospers can they enjoy greater security. So, seeing the great victory in southern Xinjiang, they were overjoyed. However, one person looked unhappy, Prince Ping, Long Zuxing. These people actually did it. Damn it. Although they didn't use true qi, they must be comparable to the Earth sect. Moreover, the martial arts they practiced are very strange. It seems that they can restore physical strength and recover from injuries by absorbing blood, Long Zuxing said in his heart. This kind of martial arts is simply born for war. I must find a way to get it, Since I have this idea, Duan Muliu must be the same. A cold light flashed in Long Zuxing's eyes. Duan Muliu was watching from beginning to end, and he was obviously interested in the secret guards of the Su family. If it's as I expected, Duan Muliu wants to obtain the training methods of these secret guards and use them to complete his grand plan, Long Zuxing said in his heart, and Duan Muliu and I have cooperated. Maybe I can get methods to train similar warriors from him. However, no matter what, Su Yang and the Su family secret guards must die for destroying my plan. I don't even need to do it myself. After Duan Muliu achieves his goal, he will definitely take action and kill them. Long Zuxing hated Su Yang very much. However, Liu Honglian, the head of the civil service, applauded. Divine troops have descended from heaven. Divine troops have descended from heaven. Liu Honglian was overwhelmed with excitement. He then faced the emperor and pleaded, Your Majesty, the Su family's secret guards have made an invaluable contribution in defeating the enemy and defending the southern border. I think we can adopt the advice of the god of war Xiantian and reward Su Yang and the Su family handsomely. Yes, Emperor Long Zingshan nodded slightly and smiled. I said that if Su Yang could lead the Su family's secret guards to repel the troops from country D, I would make him a general, giving the Su family 3 generals. Now that Su Yang has done it, I will not break my promise. I will issue an order to confer the title of Your Majesty. At this time, Long Zuxing stood up and said, I have heard that Su Yang is an educated and a super playboy, who spends his days in high-end clubs. The Su family's secret guards are powerful, I admit, but Su Yang, the young master Su, is a loser. Long Zuxing exposed Su Yang and said lightly, It may be difficult to convince the people to appoint this person as the commander. My words are golden. Once they are spoken, they cannot be taken back. Prince Ping, don't you know that a king never jokes? Long Zingshan looked at Prince Ping, slightly displeased. Or, do you want me to break my promise and become a mediocre king who does not keep his word? Your Highness, you have said that, but now, Su Yang and the Su family's secret guards have not succeeded. Country D dared to invade this time entirely because of the invincible god of war Duan Muliu. Long Zuxing continued, Duan Muliu is still alive at this time. Su Yang and the Su family's secret guards destroyed his plan and caused him to lose the soldiers who wanted to conquer the world. I'm afraid that he will attack Su Yang and the Su family's secret guards in anger. Duan Muliu's strength is known throughout the land. His reputation as invincible has been passed down for over 100 years. If you were to strike, the Su family and their secret guards would undoubtedly be annihilated. Long Zuxing continued, the leader of our army is the faith of millions of soldiers. If you were to be discredited just after being enthroned, it would have a negative impact. I think there's no need to rush now. It won't be too late to enthronize him as commander-in-chief after Su Yang and the Su family's secret guards return safely from the battlefields in southern Xinjiang, Long Zuxing suggested. Prince Ping is right, indeed, Prince Ping is thoughtful and dedicated to his country. Your Majesty, it would be most appropriate to enthronize him after Su Yang and his secret guards return to Kyoto. I second the motion. Suddenly, all the military officers in the court united with Prince Ping, and even some civil officials spoke up for him. Liu Honglian, the head of the civil officials, glared at the officials in anger, but in the court, he couldn't say much. Upon seeing this, Prince Ping revealed a barely perceptible smile, feeling quite pleased with himself. Yes, the emperor nodded and said with a smile, Prince Ping has indeed considered it carefully. Then let's do as Prince Ping said and confer the title upon him when he comes back. But at this moment, Xiao's figure flashed and appeared in front of Prince Ping. With an expressionless face, he questioned, do you really want Su Yang to die? Faced with the sudden appearance of Xiao, Prince Ping was startled and hurriedly explained, Instructor Xiao, this king, call yourself the king in front of me. Xiao's face was unfriendly, and he said in a deep voice, who gave you the courage, Instructor Xiao, you misunderstood. Prince Ping naturally did not dare to offend someone whom even the emperor was afraid of. Even if he was unhappy in his heart, He could only hold it in and said politely, "I didn't mean that. Su Yang and the Su family's secret guards have made great contributions. Naturally, I hope he will come back, but the Duanmu Liu of Country D is too powerful. There are few rivals in the world. I'm afraid." Duanmu Liu. Xiao was a little confused, obviously not having heard of this name, so she said, "There is a prohibition order on the battlefield. If he is really that strong, he should not take action." "How could Su Yang be in danger, Instructor Xiao? You don't know," Long Zuxing explained. "The prohibition order was issued by Duanmu Liu more than 100 years ago. Now that he has come out of seclusion and is raising an army with the intention of conquering the world, he will probably ignore the so-called prohibition order. With this strength, our generals have no power to resist at all, unless those pyramid-level antiques from the ancient martial arts sect come forward," Long Zuxing continued, "but the ancient martial arts sect will not participate in national wars. From ancient times to the present, they have not cared much about national wars. Expecting them to take action is harder than climbing to the sky, so, Duanmu Liu dared to break the prohibition order, and he was not afraid of being condemned by the 5 counties in 19 countries, Long Zuxing continued. In fact, the 5 counties in 19 countries have already surrendered to Duanmu Liu. The soldiers who attack southern Xinjiang this time may have come from the 5 counties and 19 countries. How could they condemn Duanmu Liu? Simply put, Duanmu Liu can ignore the Earth Sect's prohibition order and attack at will on the battlefield, and no one can punish him. Chapter 324 Master, run away. "I understand," Xiao nodded, muttering to herself, "if he doesn't follow the rules, why should we? If he dares to touch a hair on that little fellow, I'll grind him to dust." At this point, Xiao fixed her gaze on the luxurious chariot on the screen, her eyes unnaturally cold. Wow! In an instant, everyone in the Golden Throne Hall felt a terrifying pressure. Civil and military officials trembled with fear, not daring to breathe. Prince Ping was even more terrified. He swallowed nervously, lowered his head, and dared not say another word, fearing that a single mistake would offend Instructor Xiao. "Senior sister, how strong is she? Is she unaware of the Duanmu Liu's reputation, a fearless bliss, or does she truly possess the strength to rival him?" The Emperor, perched on the dragon throne, was also frightened by her aura. He had known senior sister Xiao for 30 or 40 years, and she always looked like this. Ever since Long Xingxian entered his sect, he had been hearing stories about his senior sister. She was the most formidable prodigy in the sect's history, having broken numerous records. Though his sect, while reclusive and aloof from conflict, possessed a strength comparable to that of the Fengshan realm, nestled between mountains and seas, deep within the mists and clouds. His master, rumored to be nearly 300 years old, possessed incredible power. Over 100 years ago, facing the powerful Duanmu clan, the imperial family, determined to preserve their rule, forged a truce with a mysterious sect at the cost of some sacrifice. Back then, Long Xingxian's master, a man of the same age as Duanmu clan, had already planned to take action against them. However, before he could arrive, a single look from Su Wuji frightened Duanmu clan into returning to the imperial court and surrendering. Decades later, Long Xingxian was born, and from a young age, he was sent to the mysterious sect to apprentice under its old leader. So now, upon hearing that Duanmu Liu had resurfaced, intent on conquering the world, Long Xingxian remained unfazed. His master was still alive, at least evenly matched with Duanmu Liu. A single Duanmu Liu wouldn't cause much trouble. However, Long Xingxian didn't know senior sister Xiao, hadn't seen her true strength, and so he was filled with doubts. Meanwhile, on the battlefield of southern Xinjiang, beneath the city gates, the tens of thousands of our surviving soldiers had already taken refuge in Nanjiang City under Zhao Xiance's orders. Outside the gates, the corpses of Country D soldiers lay as far as the eye could see, a river of blood flowing for at least 10 miles. At the scene, Xiao Ting and the 49 members of the Bloodslaughter clan had recovered from their injuries after a short rest. Furthermore, having been tempered by the blood and essence of hundreds of thousands of people, their bodies had grown countless times stronger. Now, each of them was as powerful as a dragon, each capable of easily defeating a peak Earth sect cultivator. Their strength had skyrocketed. As for Xiao Ting, he had made some progress. While his combat prowess didn't reach the full realm, he could still handle a mid to late stage Xianzong warrior. At this moment, if the Bloodslaughter members unleashed their fuel and combined attack technique, They could kill a peak-level Xianzong warrior. Kill, their gazes fixed on the luxurious sedan in the distance. Their bodies brimming with murderous intent as they prepared to charge. Return. The men in the sedan are incredibly powerful. You're no match for them. Retreat immediately. Seeing this, Su Yang, unwilling to watch the blood slaughter members die, sent a telepathic message, commanding them to retreat. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Upon receiving their master's orders, Xiao Ting and the 49 blood slaughter members retreated without hesitation. Want to leave, do you agree? But just then, an old voice suddenly rang from the luxurious sedan. Boom. In an instant, a powerful force erupted from the sedan, causing the once exquisite structure to explode. Then, a figure soared into the sky, rising over 10 meters above the ground before slowly descending, landing firmly on the ground. His face was ravaged, revealing the signs of age. His bones had atrophied due to age, leaving him thin and hunched, resembling a little old man. Yet, the aura he emanated was terrifying, a terrifying aura that commanded the slightest hesitation. You are truly remarkable. 50 of you have killed nearly 3,000 of my grandmasters and over 400,000 soldiers. Duanmu Liu remained motionless, gazing at the blood slaughter members from afar. A smile curled his lips as he said, "Excellent, very good. I never expected to witness such exquisite martial arts in my lifetime." Xiao Ting and the 49 blood slaughter members did not falter. They had sensed danger and quickened their pace to escape. Run in the opposite direction. This man is too powerful. Master may not be his match. Don't cause Master any trouble. If possible, buy Master time to escape. Xiao Ting, the strongest, sensed Duanmu Liu's terrifying power and led the 49 blood slaughter members in a flight in the other direction. HMPH, escape, huh? You won't cry until you see the coffin. I've always been a stickler for rules. The Earth's prohibitions were established by me, and I have no intention of breaking them, Duanmu Liu said coldly, but if you insist on forcing me, don't blame me. His eyes glared, and his body instantly vanished, leaping directly towards the blood slaughter members. Bang! 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 Duanmu Liu's strength was too great, at least reaching the level of a half-step divine sect at this level. The attacks of a master were miraculous. Facing him, the 49 blood slaughter members were powerless to fight back. Even Xiao Ting was unable to withstand his blows. The blood slaughter members didn't even have time to deploy their fuel in combined attack formation before they were defeated one by one. In the blink of an eye, 3 or 4 blood slaughter members fell to the ground. However, it was unclear what Duanmu Liu was planning. He could have killed them with one strike, but he held back. Although the blood slaughter members survived, they were incapacitated and lay groaning in pain. How terrifying! Xiao Ting was shocked. He quickly looked at Su Yang and shouted, "Young master, run. We'll hold him back. Brothers, move on. Protect our master to the death, protect our master to the death, protect our master to the death, protect our master to the death." The remaining 40 or so blood slaughter members, led by Xiao Ting, their eyes filled with determination. Knowing they were no match for Duanmu Liu, they simultaneously charged him. To buy their master time to escape, they were willing to sacrifice their lives. Su Yang had originally planned to leave Xiao Ting and the blood slaughter members behind and escape alone. Using his A World Away skill, he was 60% sure he could escape Duanmu Liu's pursuit. As long as the blood slaughter members remained alive, they could easily recruit a group of others and possess the same kind of slaves. However, at this moment, Su Yang saw the blood slaughter members, like moths to a flame, rushing towards a powerful old monster for his sake, and he was moved. These blood slaughter members were willing to protect him with their lives, so how could he abandon them and escape alone? Chapter 325, The Key to the East Palace, a full-force attack. Just as Su Yang was overcome with emotion, Duanmu Liu unleashed his might, unleashing earth-shattering force that sent the air buzzing. Such power was truly terrifying. He weaved through the crowd, swiftly defeating over 40 members of the blood slaughter clan with lightning speed. What realm are you in? As an ancient martial artist, Xiao Ting was the only one left standing. He had taken Duanmu Liu's blow, his mouth bloodied and his face pale. Haha, over 100 years ago, I surpassed the heavenly sect and entered the divine sect realm. Duanmu Liu stroked his beard, gazing at Xiao Ting with interest and chuckling softly. You're quite capable. This indestructible body, combined with formidable brute force, could kill a late heavenly sect cultivator. But unfortunately, you met me. I'm already a divine sect cultivator. I just showed mercy, using only 1% of my strength. You couldn't withstand it. If I did it again, you'd surely die. Duanmu Liu stared at Xiao Ting and got straight to the point, stating his purpose. However, I'll give you one chance to live. Tell me what martial arts you practice, and why it's so bizarre. HMPH, you won't want to know. We'd rather die than tell you. Xiao Ting gritted his teeth, ready to die. The 49 members of the Blood Slaughter sect lying on the ground were similarly prepared for death. Haha, quite tough. You follow the rules, and I like people who follow the rules. Duanmu Liu smiled lightly. Instead of being angry, he admired Xiao Ting and the members of Zhu Tu. After a few seconds of pause, he spoke again. Actually, I just mentioned it casually. I am just a little curious about your martial arts, but I know that this kind of martial arts relies entirely on a strong physical body. My blood is dry and my body is buried up to my neck. It is not suitable for practice. If your sect has rules and you really don't want to say it, I won't force you. After all, I can't practice it even if I get it. Duanmu Liu changed the subject and continued, but you have to promise to serve me and help me sweep the world and conquer the 5 counties in 19 countries. With your ability to slaughter ordinary soldiers at will, plus my peak strength that looks down on the world, you will definitely be able to compete for the top of the 19 states. Duanmu Liu looked around at the members of Zhu Tu and was a little excited. He asked, are you willing? You are dreaming. Xiao Ting, a veteran, was ready to sacrifice his life. He solemnly responded, in life, we are the soul of China. In death, we are the ghost of China. In life, we are the soul of China. In death, we are the ghost of China. In life, we are Chinese. In death, we are Chinese. The 49 members of the Blood Slaughter clan repeated Xiao Ting's words like a tape recorder, each of them ready to die. HMPH, you don't know what's good for you, Duanmu Liu raged. I gave you a chance to live, but you didn't cherish it. Don't blame me for my cruelty. In my early years, I traveled through China and came across the art of corpse moving. Your bodies are powerful and indestructible. Haha, you're perfect material. Duanmu Liu's eyes flashed with murderous intent, and he said coldly, today, I will kill you all and transform you into walking corpses for my use. With those words, Duanmu Liu struck decisively, intending to wipe out Xiao Ting and the Blood Slaughter clan in one fell swoop. Master, quick! Go! Xiao Ting shouted, then closed his eyes, accepting his fate. The 49 members of the Blood Slaughter clan also knew they were doomed, and simultaneously closed their eyes, awaiting their fate. Buzz! But at that moment, a powerful force suddenly emanated from afar, instantly sweeping across the entire arena. Su Yang, take action! Seeing the Blood Slaughter clan members willingly sacrifice their lives for him, Su Yang changed his mind and decided to fight head-on. Without hesitation, he immediately began the secret technique of blood sacrifice and mobilized the East Palace Key, intending to unleash his strongest attack, to see if he could shake the Duanmu clan. A few days ago, Su Yang had refined 3 Qi and blood pills using the materials sent by Zhang Zhonggao, and had consumed 1. He now had 2 remaining. Since he had already consumed a Qi and blood pill after initiating the blood sacrifice, he didn't have to worry about backlash even with the blood sacrifice. At this moment, Su Yang had already prepared his spiritual energy, infusing the East Palace Key. The key to the East Palace, give it to me, and kill. With Su Yang's roar, the key of the East Palace immediately pressed down towards Duanmu Liu, radiating a majestic aura. Duanmu Liu was about to annihilate the members of the Blood Slaughter, but he stopped, sensing a sense of danger. The next moment, Duanmu Liu turned, his eyes narrowed as he stared at the crushing key of the East Palace. Then, a look of shock washed over him. The power unleashed from this object is so familiar. Over 100 years ago, Su Wuji used this very energy, leaving me trembling with fear and prostrating myself on the ground. I remember it vividly and will never forget it. If it's as I expected, this energy is spiritual energy. Shocked, Duanmu Liu heightened his vigilance, exerting all his strength, suddenly striking out with his palm. Undeterred by the crushing key of the East Palace, Duanmu Liu met it with his palm. Clang! After a loud bang, Duanmu Liu stood still, motionless. The East Palace key, however, flew backward, losing its terrifying power. The divine sect realm was terrifying. Puff! Su Yang's mind was damaged. He clutched his chest, and a pool of blood spurted out of his mouth. Then, He formed a seal with his 10 fingers and quickly stored the East Palace key in his mind. The collision had slightly damaged the East Palace key, but with a period of nourishment within Su Yang's mind, it would be restored to its original state. That artifact disappeared. Is this the method of the ancient key cultivators? Duanmu Liu's gaze fell on Su Yang, and an excited smile played on his lips. He had already sensed that the young man in the distance was brimming with spiritual energy, and must have mastered the cultivation methods of the ancient key cultivators. So, Duanmu Liu sneered as he approached Su Yang. Young man, hand over the ancient Kigan cultivator's cultivation method, and I will spare your life. HMPH, I didn't expect you to figure it out. If you want the method, follow me. Upon seeing this, Su Yang wiped the blood from his mouth and quickly cast the world away spell, instantly vanishing. Ancient Kigan cultivator, haha, your methods are truly bizarre. However, your realm seems quite low. You are no match for me. You will not be able to escape my pursuit. Duanmu Liu sneered, his face brimming with confidence, and immediately leaped after Su Yang. The two of them vanished from the scene almost simultaneously. Meanwhile, everyone in the Golden Throne Hall was stunned, staring at the screen in astonishment, unable to calm down for a long time. End of this chapter. Thank you so much for reading until the end. Don't forget to give it a like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription or donation encourages us to continue. Thank you all. See you in the next video.